How was your trip back home, Alana?
It was good. I mean, I landed and then there was the cyclone, obviously.
Sure.
So that wasn't great. But otherwise had a lovely time. Spent some time in Adelaide, spent some time in Sydney. It was good stuff.
Are you glad to be
Record
back in LA
heat,
now
apparently.
or what? Sorry?
Record heat. Like while I was there, it was we kept getting notifications that it was the hottest autumn on record. It was real warm. It was lovely.
Wait, it's autumn now?
No.
Yeah.
No
you
way.
were in autumn.
I'm just...
Yep.
Wow,
Happens real
I've totally
fast.
lost track of time. Oh my God. Holy shit.
Uh-huh.
What month is it? March? It's March. Holy fuck. We're basically in April
It's
now.
about to be April.
Oh my
It's almost
God. There's
April.
absolutely no way
Yeah.
that is true.
Wait,
Yeah.
can we while we're all talking about the fact that we don't know what day it is, I got another confession to make.
Go on.
What?
Go on.
I forgot to do the newsletter last episode.
Oh my God. Jesus. I was
Because
actually
it was
thinking...
GDC.
I was thinking about that actually just the other day. I'm like, did I get a newsletter this week for the show? I don't think I did.
Yeah.
So,
So
sorry to everyone.
the heights
We
of
were
professionalism here. At
I'm
the
sorry.
Friends-
No, because it was GDC and then I went straight to New York and I just completely blanked on it. So I'm going to make this one real good. I promise. I swear.
The double
I'm sorry.
episode of the newsletter. Wait, like,
Well,
that's
let's not get that carried away. It does take me some time.
That's a good segue. Are we going to talk about a GDC? I'd love to hear about it. Should we do that? Let's do the show intro first, though. We haven't really done the top of it. Let's do the top. Who's hosting?
Me, I'm hosting.
You're hosting, okay.
So can I just say the fact that you didn't say GDC in an Australian accent, you went GDC.
That's not
pronounced.
true. I
It
just
is.
said
Stew. Stew.
GDC.
Yeah, you're supposed to say joy do soy.
That's fucking
So-
Captain Kim level shit right there, you know?
This is a podcast about video games. Welcome to Friends Per Second, everyone. We will talk about GDC. I'm Lucy. She's Lana. He's Ralph. He's Jake. GDC.
GDC.
What do you want to know?
Tell us. What's
How
the goss?
much
Give us
AI?
spill the
Question
tea.
mark.
What did you say?
How much AI? There was a lot of it in the emails that I was getting in the run up to the event, but overall, GDC this year was weird. GDC is weird kind of every year, but in different ways. Like there's the blockchain year and whatever. This year was
Remember that
definitely
year.
AI. However, I would say attendance was low.
Okay,
I
yeah, I
went to
actually
the
heard that from someone else as
Yeah.
well. They said the same thing. And
Yeah.
is it just because for anyone who doesn't know, by the way, GDC is Game Developers Conference, and it's in San Fran every year. It's like 4 or 5 days, and
Yeah.
it's real sort of like proper industry. It's not like E3 used to have an industry component and a consumer thing. This is just pure straight industry, and there's a lot of wheeling and dealing, and you pitch your game at GDC to try and find a publisher, and they do panels on development, all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you're
really
saying-
good panels and like postmortems. They have the awards. So they have kind of what is it? IGDF?
Yep.
Independent
Yeah, I know the
Game.
one.
Yeah, those ones. And then there were the GDC Awards, which Alana, you hosted last
year.
year?
Hell yeah.
So those awards were always great. And then, it was a weird one. There just weren't as many people in
I
town.
would
The show floor
suspect
was
a lot of
really-
that is probably people not feeling comfortable traveling to the US at the moment.
I don't think
in
it
some
was
cases.
that. I think it was a culmination of, definitely a lot of people did not travel, but at the same time, a ticket for GDC is $2,500.
They are
about
so
the-
expensive.
Dollars?
So expensive. And
Oh,
and
wow.
then you are staying in San Francisco, which is incredibly expensive. And so when you factor all that in a year where there have been layoffs and closures, I did anticipate, attendance.
Also,
would be
may have been
low.
harder for people to get visas. Rami Ismail was posting about it, and he said something along those lines that there was like people from countries that would usually come to GDC where they don't have like game dev hubs couldn't come for a series of political reasons this year. But the one good thing that I heard that came out of it, not that there aren't always tons of really cool things there, was a lot of talk about unions. There's a lot of conversation about an official game developer union, and people have spoken about this in like whispers, and certain studios have unionized already, but it like seems to be like more of a conglomerate like a SAG would be, that was actually like really making effort to talk to people this year. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, that is good. That is very good. That's like very healthy to see that finally happening. So yeah.
Saw some games, saw a lot of friends. I saw Disco Elysium running on mobile. That was
Yeah, and it
Cool.
doesn't suck.
I
It
think
was weird. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think the headline "Disco Elysium for the TikTok generation" will go down in infamy.
God, that was bad. As soon as I read that, I'm like, oh no, fire this into the sun. We don't need
Who
this.
said that?
That was the
actually in the
Eurogamer.
press.
That was the Eurogamer headline, which is where I got it from. But yeah, it wasn't the press release.
It wasn't the press release from the studio head.
Yeah.
They said that. So yeah.
But no, it does feel strange. Like I don't know if I would replay Disco Elysium fully that way. I think I would want to do, but they have like all the voice acting, they have all the music, they have the whole game in there, but they have like gyroscope stuff in. So when you're stood in the middle of, you're stood in a room now to explore, you can move your phone around and like tap to. They've also like streamlined it in ways to make it more, what's the word? More natural, as if how you would use a phone. And so kind of made it more, there's a word I'm looking for and I'm stretching for, but I can't find it.
It's so interesting. Like, why? It's so.
But
like,
why? But why?
Yeah, but why? Like, because the thing about who Disco Elysium appeals to, right? It's your most like hardcore of hardcore
gamers who read books.
It's people who read books, yeah. But like, it's a certain type of person who chooses to play Disco Elysium, and I can't imagine that person is also really keen to play this on their phone. Am I wrong about this? Alana has a big smile on her face. Like,
no, I'm just laughing because it's like the idea that it's all the communists. So they're like just trying to like get Gen Z involved because they think they're all like Marxist commies. And they're like, come on.
Absolutely.
We know you'll like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what the business case for this is. I don't know how successful it's going to be. It must have cost proper money to do this. Because
they've been working on it for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Couldn't you say the same for Papers, Please? Like that.
No, but I reckon that's a really small lift because you've basically taken a game and ported it to mobile, right? And Lucas's games are much smaller in terms of like visual design and whatever else. They're like a core premise that kind of unfolds. Whereas this, though, seeing the presentation of this, like there's a lot of work that went into making what looks to be a very expensive app. And
well, that's the thing because it's
so it's a lot more
not
than
on iOS either.
It's a lot more than a port. It's a fundamental reimagining of Disco Elysium in terms of its UI, its design, even what Lucy said about gyroscoping. Like you can look around environments using your phone. Like it's a lot, you know.
Is the story all the same and the voice acting all the same?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just gameplay is different.
Yeah.
Super weird.
Because it's in chapters now. I think they were saying that it's free, like the first couple are free, and then it's a one-off payment. But yeah, they did Android, and I don't think they haven't announced an iOS release for it yet.
Right. Okay.
If it is coming to iOS at all, I don't know. But no.
Interesting.
So that,
feel like there are like some keen mobile gamers out there who are looking for better games. Like surely that's a thing, and there aren't that many of them.
Ralph's shaking his head.
Do you know what? I don't think that segment really truly exists. I really don't. Like I just can't see it. Like for example, Touch Arcade, that publication was like the only publication that was trying to provide proper coverage of the mobile space for core enthusiast gamers. That publication closed down, right?
Mm-hmm.
I never see it in my comment section. I never see chat around. I never see anything. Like I don't see it. Maybe I'm completely wrong about this.
No, I was going to say, like every year when GameSpot, we do the Game of the Year stuff, we always have platform categories, and mobile is always kind of one of the hardest to do. Because I have Apple Arcade, right? And I'm looking at it now, specifically on the arcade page. And it's, NBA, Balatros 2, Solitaire is 3. Are you joking? And then it's PGA, NFL. Hello Kitty was like the last big one.
It was meant to be a banger.
It's meant to be really good.
But
my thought is very anecdotal.
Right.
But it's basically that I like have all these friends who aren't gamers, and a lot of them are mums or whatever. And I feel like I get a lot of texts where people are like, give me good mobile games. And I will always say like Monument Valley or like things like that. But I feel like that I have some of those people who will like frequently ask me what they can play on their phones would love Disco Elysium. They just don't know that yet. Like I think that they would totally be down. I don't know, there's like 5 of them.
The mums, get the mums. The communist mums.
They're down, they're ready to go. Little Marxist mothers everywhere.
I think my point specifically was that I think there's plenty of people who play on mobile who want to play good games, right? But I think when I pick up my mobile, I want to play a good mobile game. I don't want to, and so that's why I play like Marvel Snap, for example, right? And when I'm on the plane, for example, I play, Vampire Survivors because I'm like, well, this just works fine. I can use my one hand and I can use it in the portrait mode and it works. You know what I mean? When I want to play a good game full stop, that is when I will pick up my Steam Deck or my Switch, or I'd sit down on my PC or my whatever. You know what I mean? So I think what I'm trying to say is that, like, yeah, I think obviously people who play on mobile want good games, but I don't see people playing on mobile who want to play a good, like, Baldur's Gate 2 port. Do you know what I mean? Like, that exists, by the way. You can do it.
Does it?
Really, it's really yes, it does. It's really fucking hard to read it, but you can do it. Or like, I don't know. I don't see that. I think they're very separate.
The only
segments.
thing is that, and it's separate, but it's another like wild, case, is that there is so many people that are trying to play console games on their mobile thing. The Call of Duty mobile is massive.
Yeah.
They ported, like, Capcom's porting all these full ass games to like iPhone and iPad. So maybe this is just like a weird alternative angle of that. I just wonder. I really wonder how many people are going to go for that, because it's like, how do you advertise that? How do you attract people to that? Because like what you mentioned with Touch Arcade,
punch a
right?
Kid.
So you say, so it says that in the app thumbnail.
Yeah.
You just show a picture of Kuno's face and you're like,
shit.
punch him.
Because like I just don't know how you get eyeballs on that, especially because like I think there might be people out there that can stumble upon it and really love it, but those people aren't engaging in any sort of watching or reading or learning about mobile games.
Advertising on mobile has to be a nightmare anyway, because like, I mean, even the like,
unless you're an arcade.
Yeah, it's just like there's so much, like, now there's like AI trash too, and like there's stolen games, like people are literally ripping games they found on Steam and publishing, like that is super hard. But
like how many unpacking clones there were?
Yeah, like that must be difficult. I don't even know how you would start to market on mobile. My thought is just
you'd market through us, basically. That's why we get like all these offers every day. I get like an offer for some mobile game for offering me like $30,000 to do an ad read for some gacha shit or whatever. I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
But before we move on, I was going to, in Disco Elysium, when you see the face for the first time, they changed that. So it's actually you swiping the mirror like that. And then you get the face as a jump scare, which I thought was kind of
cool.
That's pretty
cool. Extremely cool.
Sorry, Alana. What were you saying?
So I was going to say it's the most adopted hardware globally is mobile. It makes sense to get on it. People in regions that don't even have consoles often have mobile phones,
Absolutely. It's huge.
Well, a bunch of stuff has happened today. We're recording this on the Thursday. Tencent finally, I don't know. What do you even call it? So I was about to say.
You're very excited to talk about this, Lucy. I can tell.
No, it's so weird because obviously I have friends at Ubisoft and they don't know what the hell is going on or what this means for their jobs. And so Ubisoft has formed a subsidiary for certain IPs. So Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Rainbow Six, and Tencent has invested 1.16 billion euro into that. But then what the hell does that mean for everything else that Ubisoft has? I mean,
no one really knows.
I don't know, folks. I'm not feeling so good about Beyond Good and Evil 2 in this.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is basically, we don't really know what this is. All we know for now is that this new entity is going to house those IPs. And we don't know if that means that the developers associated with that are also going to sit under there, like the overheads associated with it. Are they licensing that IP out to Ubisoft proper?
When it says Rainbow Six, does that just have Siege, or is that Tom Clancy as a whole? Because we're Splinter Cell.
Yeah, I mean,
think
that's
it's
a good question.
the IPs in general.
Yeah.
This is a stock market play. Ubisoft have been trying to do a bunch of stuff to succeed on the stock market recently and failing, right? Like they're having trouble. This is absolutely a stock market play. So it's like, here are all of our big IPs, the ones that generate the most income. Let's put them as a separate code on the stock market. And then all of the other stuff that we do will have, like probably they'll have pretty insane conversations with their shareholders, like if this is a split that's actually happening, but all of their others will not have to compete, because it can seem like such a colossal failure if something comes out and doesn't have Assassin's Creed numbers, like if it's one of their lesser IP and it's not comparable, it seems like a huge failure and you lose a bunch of money on the stock market. So it's definitely just them trying to split assets to make their stocks steadier.
Well,
I don't know what it functionally looks like.
Yeah, well, I
though.
don't. It's not a new listing on the stock exchange, though, as I understand it.
Isn't it?
No, it's a
If
new
it's a subsidiary, it can be.
Well, it can't. Yes, but my understanding is that it's wholly owned by Ubisoft. So
And Tencent has a 25% stake.
Yes, exactly. So I that's why I personally don't quite understand what this is at this point, right? And I think a lot of other people.
How is Ubisoft's subsidiary valued at $4 billion?
Because this entity does not have any of the debt, and it doesn't have the overheads that Ubisoft has. Because that's the problem with Ubisoft.
It doesn't have the baggage.
That's the problem IP without the baggage. Yeah.
Yeah, because Ubisoft has about 18,000 staff, and like most investors will look at that and they'll be like, "No, thank you."
Insane.
So because I mean, even
isn't a separate like line item on the stock market. I think it's got to. It's regardless. It has to be a stock market play. Like. But I don't know enough about
balance sheet.
economics.
I think it's definitely going to be it's definitely going to be a financial play. Like there's definitely going to be some impact on their balance sheet and on their profit and loss and on their ability to sell and license their IPs. But I don't know exactly how that's going to translate into like stock price or what have you with regards to all this. But yeah, definitely this is a financial move. This is not some kind of strategic direction shift for Ubisoft and what have you. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I personally think we don't know what their plans are for this yet. They're very vague about it.
It's going to close by the end of the year.
The statements, it's backed by greater investment and boosted creative capacities. It will drive further increases in quality of narrative solo experiences, expand multiplayer offerings with frequency of content release, introduce free-to-play touchpoints, and integrate more social features. What were you doing before? That's literally what you got.
That's just all. Those are all just buzzwords. Like I'm surprised that you mentioned
that you write for shareholders. That's literally just for shareholders.
Yeah. Like, we are focused on building strong game ecosystems designed to become evergreen, growing high-performing brands, and creating new IPs powered by cutting-edge and emerging technologies.
God almighty!
I just read through the lines, and that just
sounds, everyone they could.
It's like it's just one crazy guy being like, "Remember that game For Honor? Well, we're still updating it."
Are they actually?
They are. Yeah.
They are very slowly but steadily.
It's
got like a good community.
Yeah, my thought is like maybe that they're trying to make it so that they can pitch. I just can't see how it's not a stock market play to pitch shareholders to put money into the subsidiary specifically so that the losses, so that their very successful IP don't have to pull up their less successful IP in the way that they currently are. Like, so that Star Wars doesn't tank the whole company when Assassin's Creed can do really well or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
It just... Otherwise, why? There's nothing different other than finances. Like, you're doing the same shit.
Well, the other way it could go as well is that Ubisoft could become a private entity, right? Which then was
I had also considered that this would be their public and the rest of it would go private, and I would love that because then we could get like Valiant Hearts again, a Child of Light 2.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know that Eve Gilmore. I don't know that's a real passion project for Eve Gilmore and the Gilmore family to get Valiant Hearts 2 out there. You know what I mean?
Well, didn't they do something with Valiant Hearts like last year? They put it on mobile.
Yeah.
So, see?
I missed that era of Ubisoft.
Yeah, me too, man.
I think it's too early to judge what this is. We literally have no idea. It's a thing that's happened. The most tangible thing we can say is that Tencent is now owning a bigger portion of Ubisoft, and
which I think we all kind of knew the writings on the wall
was happening.
They were going to be doing.
I think a good news story here is that they've got a big injection of liquidity. The hope is that they would direct that liquidity towards maintaining their operations, but I think the stark reality is that Ubisoft has 18,000 people, and that makes them like 3 times bigger than EA, for example, with generating significantly less revenue than them. So it's logical to assume that they're going to obviously downsize their operations. I think that's going to happen regardless of how well AC Shadows sold. But hopefully that liquidity helps take the edge off some of that downsizing. But again, we don't know.
The worst case scenario is that this becomes Ubisoft main and everything else. Everyone who's working on any other IP gets laid off and that gets shut down. Like, I think that's worst outcome. But before this happened, weren't there a bunch of rumors in the like gaming community that Ubisoft were going to start selling IP? Like, I feel like that was
there was rumors that like Xbox and EA were kind of and Sony were circling, just like picking off what they wanted.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is the answer to that speculation. Like, this is what they're doing instead, right? They're not planning to sell anything. They're just getting a bunch of 10-cent money. A lot of people have done it.
Yep.
And in the meantime, I bet because of this deal, the ghost of Tom Clancy just made $500 million off of this deal.
No, because they bought the Tom Clancy rights from him years ago, so he doesn't make a dime anymore.
I just like to imagine that. That's funny.
Yeah, no, the estate is...
I was going to say, I hope his family gets something.
No, they cashed out long ago. Just like the Tolkien family, they cashed out long ago too, and now it's all owned by Middle Earth Enterprises, aka Embracer Group.
Just like, well, I guess cashing out, like Ian Holmes' character being an alien, right? Like that was.
Don't even get
that's
me.
cashing in, Lucy.
It still didn't feel good, man.
Still felt very bad.
I like how they updated it. They were like, "No, we actually fixed the CGI when the movie released on Blu-ray."
Right.
And it still looks like dog shit. Yeah, they literally patched it. Yeah,
Corridor Crew or whoever.
Yeah, right.
I saw that movie. Yeah, that's right. When I'm seeing that movie and watching that CG, I was like, "What?" First of all, this is a bad idea, and secondly, the execution horrifically bad.
The teeth. It's always the teeth.
Is it really? Yeah. Okay.
Oh no! Like I have a weird thing
eyes.
where video games as well. I don't think there's a single game where I haven't noticed how weird a character's teeth are.
Yeah.
Like there's just the one. It's the kind of intersection between the lips and the
Funny
teeth.
thing
Which is really weird.
to be fixated on as a British person.
Damn.
He got you there.
Jesus Christ.
He really got you there.
We all like inhaled.
I've got nothing back.
Sorry, man.
I got nothing.
That Simpsons joke, I'll never forget it, man. I just
the
seared
British
to me the big book of British smiles after that.
British smiles. Lisa needs braces. The thing is that I had braces too, and I have like a tiny crossover in my front two teeth, and
We all did.
keeps me up at night.
Now kids these days have got Invisalign. They don't know the pain we had to go through. Literally strapping
brutal.
Like
eye in.
actually, like
I still have bars glued on
I
both
have
of
bars.
my... Yeah, on both.
On the back.
oh, you have them on both. I wish I got them on both because I had a retainer that I never wore.
Me too.
So
That's
Me
why my
too.
shit's fucked
No
up
one
now.
ever
Sorry, Mom
yep.
and Dad.
That's right, exactly right. Total waste of money for them. So,
Remember getting them adjusted? You'd have to go often and they would tighten them a little bit. It was like medieval torture.
And then
But they used to give you little bits of wax if you ever complained that it was ripping your mouth to shreds. You were like, oh, we'll just put a little bit of wax on, you'll be fine.
fucking sucked.
Man.
Really
Did you ever used to put your own elastic bands on?
I had the
did
elastic
those.
to pull my jaw forward.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
So they
I
had
would see
an
those.
elastic that was like from there to there. Yeah, it was pretty wild. Good stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Memories.
Anyway, video games.
Fond memories.
Videos,
Anyway, we haven't talked about playing Assassin's Creed actually, because we talked about it in our preview. We haven't talked about it since we did. Since the
I haven't
reviews dropped.
watched any of your. I don't know what any of you think about this game.
Well,
you
Lucy,
can probably
I would have
guess,
you know
Liz.
that we are.
Oh no, actually, I do know. I do know what
ones.
Jake feels about it.
We are the ones who
Yeah, the dissenting opinion.
are not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just didn't. It didn't hit with me. I know I am like not the target audience at this point. I am like a professional complainer of Assassin's Creed. I've been doing it for a long time, but it's because I'm very passionate about the series, and it's never been a perfect series. And I've liked some of the newer RPG style ones, but
Black Flag was
you
pretty
know.
perfect. Black
Flag's
Flag
pretty
pretty
yeah,
perfect.
right, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'm trying to be like,
Syndicate.
yeah.
I will wave the flag for Syndicate. I love
Good.
that.
you
one.
would.
should.
Yeah, I know I would. What is it? But also because it's British.
Because it's British and shit.
But
Yeah.
also,
that
there's
makes sense.
did I even tell you guys about the Jack the Ripper museum that I went to in London?
No, what the fuck?
So, slight tangent, because Syndicate had Jack the Ripper DLC, which was actually like pretty great.
Yeah.
What? Did
Yeah.
they have DLC where people got murdered?
You were investigating Jack the Ripper.
A lot of
Yeah,
people
that's
die.
pretty cool.
Alana, I'm going to sit down when I tell you a lot of people die in Assassin's Creed games. There's
To
a
be
lot of murder
clear,
in
I
those games.
wanted to specify the kind of people who got murdered, but I didn't know what word to use. Okay? So I just
Well,
went
they
with
were-
people. Right. You understand what I'm saying?
I
It
see what you're
was
saying.
people, yeah.
That is very saying.
But so I went when I was in London last. I was with my a friend, and we were like, "Oh, hey, what should we do? We're in London. You're American. Let's go hang out somewhere and do something really British." So we went to the Jack the Ripper Museum, which was basically like someone's house that they had turned into this museum. I think my favorite thing that they did was they printed a copy of the From Hell letter and tea stained it and then burned the edges to make it look
Nice.
legit.
Like
And they also had
third grade art project.
They also had a they had a little glass cabinet full of the policeman who discovered one of the bodies may have used. And there were like 3 whistles in this cabinet. And I was like, well, which one was it? And then they also had a makeshift morgue in the basement, which I don't think was very tasteful. I'm just going to put it out there. Anyway, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
I really wish you had photos of that you could share with us, please. If there are photos of that, please find them and put them in the newsletter, okay?
I will put them in the newsletter.
All right, do that.
Let me make a note.
Good
That was
reason.
all
No
just
one,
because-
write newsletter.
Yeah.
No
just
two.
because Assassin's Creed Syndicate was mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with Shadows, I called it. Like when I put out my video, I was like, a lot of people I think are gonna like this. Like
Yes.
if you liked Valhalla, if you fucking love Valhalla and 200% of that, this is like an improvement in a
Yes.
lot of ways.
For sure.
It tries to focus more on storytelling, even if it doesn't land.
At all.
You know, the stealth is better. It's not 250 hours long.
Oh, how long is it? Because I'm like 10 hours in.
40 hours.
Yeah.
40 hours with like moderate sort of deviations to side content and rolling
Okay.
the final credits.
So that's like Origin side, right?
Yes, exactly.
Roughly. Yeah.
The things I will say I like about it is that I like the world. It's very detailed.
Beautiful.
It's very cool. It's beautiful. The seasons changing is very impressive technically, but also
But fuck how you can't change the seasons whenever you want. It has to be a certain level of full. And then if you don't have any scouts, you can't change the seasons to get them. So you're just wandering around until the season changes.
Just like the real world.
just like the real world, you can't
like the
change
real
the
world.
seasons.
But it's also a mechanic and it's on the menu every time you
Yeah.
go to the map where
You
it
see
says
it right there,
hold
taunting you.
to change seasons.
Yep.
Just kidding.
Yep. But
That's
you know,
right.
having less grass to hide in the dead of winter, and you know the snow slowing you down a little bit is cool. And I also like the stealth. It's not complex, but in terms of like the last couple of Assassin's Creed games, there's quite a bit more to do. There's more ways to hide. You're still ultimately hiding in a bush and whistling, and a guy goes, "Huh?" and you
But
stab.
now you can lie flat in that
But
bush.
yeah, now there's a little bit more stuff you could do. I wish lying flat and going prone was like a little bit more taken advantage of. You just
I've been using it to go under buildings and pop out from the floor a
Yep,
lot,
you can do that.
which is quite fun.
There's a lot of like interesting interior stuff that I found, like the camera really frustrating and the controls really frustrating inside.
Yeah.
But there's so much they tried with like your grappling hook to hide on the ceiling, floors, like ninja-proof floors that if you step on it, it alerts enemies. Cool
Yes.
little things like that like they were trying to like evolve things a little bit where it didn't
Stabbing
evolve.
someone through the door is very
Very
satisfying.
cool. Yeah.
Very good.
Very cool. But like all that stuff to me didn't negate the fact that like I didn't really care about the story. And I just was pretty bored after a while with like the encounters and the kind of rinse and repeat of it all. And really the game's resistance to putting up any sort of walls or anything like it with the player, like challenging them in different ways. It's kind of throughout the entire game. It was just kind of like, you're ultimately kind of doing the same thing, side quests and main quests. And honestly, I think they did Yasuke dirty. I think his story was the more interesting one.
Absolutely.
But it took a while to get to. And then, all the cool stuff in the game, in my opinion, is buried behind hours and hours and hours of stuff that kind of bored
Impossible
me.
to give a shit about.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally
I
agree
will
with that.
say, so I started playing it, was enjoying it. I was enjoying the fact that it felt like they were really trying more with story and like being more cinematic. And there are some scenes that are absolutely gorgeous.
Some scenes
and
look
like
cool as hell.
yeah, like very filmic, very cinematic. And there was a moment where you first decide that you're going to take out all these people, and it takes you to this white menu screen, and then the circle appears, and all the 13 of them who you have to kill appear. And then it zooms out, and another menu comes
There's
up.
circles
And
for
then
everything.
another circle comes up. And I shit you not, I made the noise that Sideshow Bob makes when he stands on a rake every single time a new piece of bullshit popped up on my screen, because I was like, you almost had me.
I want to hear this. I want to hear the Sideshow Bob sound, by the way.
Yeah, please recreate it.
Not bad. Not bad. I was expecting much worse, to be honest.
I just think it's neat. Anyway.
I think your Sideshow Bob is much better than your Marge. Okay?
Yeah, I'm going with you on the Marge. But no, I also agree with you in the fact that they're sanding down the edges on making it challenging in any way. And I feel like, but then there's kind of the other side of that is that it feels kind of comforting because you know exactly how encounters are going to go, and it just feels like something you can just slip into like one bath.
And they're never hard games.
Yeah.
No.
The expert difficulty is very hard, though.
I've heard
Do we
that.
have a gamer in our midst?
I've
You play on
played it a
expert?
little
No,
bit,
mostly playing
but-
on normal, but I tried expert just because I heard people talking about it being hard, and it is a different video game.
Ooh, maybe
Like-
I'll try that.
If you run, you'll be caught at all. Like it is the expert difficulty. Again, I played very little of it because I just wanted to try it. So I played like the first 2 tutorials, which by the way, the tutorials in this game are not very good. But yeah, the first part of that, like you will like fail almost immediately. Like it is so much harder that it totally would play differently. Like if the encounters are rinse and repeat, like you're saying, Jake, like I have not played enough that I feel like I have an opinion yet. Most of my opinion, devastatingly at this point, is maybe I should replay Ghost of Tsushima, which is a real bummer.
Damn.
But that is, I just keep thinking that.
Yeah.
But
So true.
I feel like if you were to, even if you have the same encounters or the AI is doing the same thing, even if the difficulty's harder, they're probably still going to feel the same once you learn the tricks of the trade, right?
For sure. Yeah,
You know the other thing that's weird about it, when you're in the open world and you're on the horse, like
that fucking horse.
7 out of 10, 7 times that fucking horse.
That motherfucking
Why
horse.
is he coming in at
fucking horse.
70 miles an hour every single time?
He'll
but
pick
also,
you
like,
up and then turn around.
yeah. But like every
so
time
much.
I'm riding somewhere and it's like 2,000 meters away or whatever, no music.
Yes.
And I kind of realized it. And then now it's like the only thing that I can focus on. I'm just like, okay, I'm just here in nature. Where's my
It's vibes. It's
But
just
that's the
vibes.
thing, right? I actually think that that's kind
I
of
know.
me personally, listening to a lot of the chatter, like everyone accepts that this is an AC game, and people are like they like that, and they recognize that it is an improvement on the formula in almost every aspect. The core combat is better. The stealthing is significantly better. You know, like the world design stuff is very similar, but it's very pretty. You know what I mean? Like, so
beautiful game.
Yeah.
there's like a lot of acknowledgement there. And I think, but one of the things, the subtext, I think a lot of that is people just like the vibe of it and they don't mind just kind of going through it. And I think Ubisoft were very deliberate with their choice to like make this quite a quiet game a lot of the time. There really isn't much music. And
But when
you know,
they do use it, it is very
Oh my God, it's
impactful.
There's some
beautiful.
weird
and the sound
song
design's
choices,
really
though.
good too.
yeah, totally. I think, and I mean, you talked about it yourself, Jake, as you, in one of your videos, where you're like, it's a podcast game. And I absolutely feel that and that's one of the reasons why I don't like it, because I don't want this to be my podcast game. If I play an Assassin's Creed game, it's like lean forward entertainment as opposed to lean back, to use fucking HBO programming jargon. Like I want something that's really.
That's pretty good. Whatever.
No,
that
I mean,
is.
like, you know, there's like they like television places. They say that we're the leader in like lean forward programming, which is like you have to pay attention to it. Like Chernobyl is
Like-
lean forward,
Yeah,
and like
Sopranos.
Game
Desperate
of Thrones, Last
Housewives,
of Us.
yeah, Desperate Housewives of whatever
Right.
is lean back. You know what I mean?
Which is the
I-
last lean forward game, Assassin's Creed game, then for you?
I would.
I
yeah,
would
look,
say the
I
last
would-
one that I really leaned
Unity.
forward for was Black Flag.
Well, look, I would. Yeah, I mean, I think Black Flag is like unbelievable.
Peak.
Yeah, absolute peak. Personally,
But
I
even
will
then,
say,
I barely remember the Animus stuff in that game. I don't remember the Abstergo stuff. Like I was
Wasn't
so
that
into
that
the
was the
Assassin's
first
Creed
one where
lore.
they
That was the
did
best one.
that was when they did the first person, you are working at Abstergo.
yeah,
and
yeah,
you
so you
are-
walk around with your little
developer.
clipboard.
Yeah.
And that was
I also think though I'm looking back more and more fondly on Odyssey, because now like that we've had this quadrilogy of games. I personally didn't like Origins. I thought it was just a bit bare. It was kind of just like almost a prototype for what this would eventually become. And I didn't like Valhalla because I'm like, well, this is too excessive. This is not right. But then I definitely look back on my time with Odyssey, which at the time I enjoyed. But now I look back on it with a lot more affection because I'm just like, you know what? Actually, that was pretty fucking cool. It was bloated. It had like a 25-hour stretch in the middle, which just felt like a massive piss take. But between like the mythology stuff and the like, Abstergo stuff and the sea navigation stuff, which I think really I always really love. I think it had like a sense of humor and an energy to it, which I enjoyed. I look back on that personally as like the strongest game in that quadrilogy at this point. Even though I think what do you call it? Shadows is the most polished mechanically at this point. Odyssey just had something going for it. I think it really did, and I definitely view it differently now post Shadows. So yeah,
interesting.
Is there a reason that so when you boot up Shadows, it comes up with like the infinity thing? Why are so many games missing from that?
It's the ones that are available to purchase.
Yes,
it's Call of Duty hub thing, right?
Exactly.
Where those are the games that exist in that UI, and you can't get the others within that system.
Right.
Yeah,
because I would. It would be amazing if like all of them were in there.
Yeah,
because it just feels kind of weird.
They remade the Ezio trilogy, didn't they? Like I loved those games, dude. I love them so much. And like for the record, I'm liking Shadows so far. I'm not disliking it, but I can completely understand if what you're saying is like it gets formulaic and repetitive, that it will lose me, because like at a certain point you can only do the same thing so much. And I am finding the start to be very slow. There are a lot of cutscenes, I think to its detriment. There are probably too many. I think it's really well voice acted. I am playing the Japanese version, but seems to be really well voice acted. Like I totally agree. The combat is way better than it's felt to me for ages. The stealth is great. Like it feels like I have actual control in a lot of ways. But like you're saying, if it ends up being a thing where I'm doing the same 5 things over and over and over again, when you've already done that in other video games as well, it's just really hard to
It's just kind of layers to it where it has me for a stretch, and then something will pop up where I'm like, and one of them is I don't understand what are the animus what are keys that I'm finding and picking up, and I'm just like,
that's to access at a different storefront to buy shit.
That's
for
right.
Your character
that goes towards your battle pass.
I can't believe there's a battle pass. Also, I was so mad that it made me log in for a single player game. Are you kidding me?
Well, that's kind of standard these days, unfortunately.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Not back in my day. That's right. You just put the fucking disc in there. You blow the cartridge. You stick it in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Back in my day, you're assassin. You could sit on a bench and you could stab a guy and put him on the bench.
But no, I like when it does something different. I think there's been a lot of chatter about the tea ceremony as kind of a very more of a standout moment, like a really cool way of bringing an investigation together into. Like, I don't know, it was a moment where it just kind of took its time to slow you down. And I really like that. And it felt so different. It stuck out. And then it had me, hey, why don't you go to this castle and
I totally agree.
Use your eagle vision? And I'm like,
That happens at the beginning of the game, that tea ceremony quest.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, what the fuck, man? All right, maybe we got something going here. This is really cool. And then that was the only time in the entire game where anything like that happened. You know what I mean? Like it was the one moment where there was some different encounter or scenario design in that main quest to make it really interesting and unique. And it was because it was weaving narrative. It was storytelling plus a gameplay conceit in a really culturally sensitive setting that kind of felt very immersive. And I was just like,
that you had to pay attention to as well.
Yeah, I was really into it. And again, it was the only time in the entire video game where that happened. Unless I missed some side content stuff. I don't know, but certainly in the main quest, that was not the thing.
That's what I meant when I said like how it's afraid to challenge the player or put walls up. I mean in terms of like do things like that or have a mission where like it takes everything away from you or like significantly shakes up. Like I wanted more things like the tea ceremony because that was pretty cool. I also like some of the mini game stuff, like the meditation mini game.
Oh yeah,
I like how they're going for that. Yeah,
and the drawing of the animals I really like.
I'll chop down some bamboo as well. That's fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'm cool with a lot of those little things. I don't know this yet because I feel like I haven't played enough, but the difference in gameplay styles between Yasuke and Norway? How do
Norway,
you pronounce
yeah.
her name? Yeah, does that not give you significant variety? Like in the amount that I've played so far, they feel significantly different in a way that I'm like, oh, these are like two very different combat approaches. Does it not end up feeling like that in the long run?
I think the issue for me was how you get adjusted to playing as Naoe, and then the lack of freedoms you have as Yasuke, in terms of like you got used to playing the game like an Assassin's Creed game. You're running around, you're climbing, you're doing your thing. Yasuke is only so capable of certain things, but he's really good at combat. And what I did like was him in story moments, specifically when they were like, all right, you're switching to him, have fun. That's where it really worked for me, because I do like how they kind of went all in on gore and stuff with this one. Like you're chopping heads off constantly and blood sprays on the walls, which is very cool. That was working.
Oh, when they do the black and white and then it's just the shot of red, really impactful.
It's funny when you screw it up though, or like the animation misses, or like your camera's stuck in the wall. Like I love video games for stuff like that, where it's like, look how cool it is, but like almost. But I mean, having said that, one of the great things about this is that it was in better shape than a lot of past Assassin's Creed games.
Oh yeah.
Oh, big time.
I found it to be very polished. I played on PS5 Pro, and I thought it looked really damn good.
I'm playing on PC, and I am getting a couple crashes here and there, which not like a deal breaker by any means, but
yeah, I had one. I found it very polished. I had like no game breaking bugs or
just the horse. Fix the horse.
The horse is the worst horse in the history of video games. It's like you would literally point it at a specific direction.
It's like day one roach, but
and there'll
worse.
be like two posts on the side of a road, and you are walking directly in between these two posts. And the minute you get, the horse will just do this. Smash straight into the post. Like every fucking he aims to bump into things. He is the worst handling thing I've ever controlled in a video game. It's like it's almost like one of these Bennett Foddy meme sorts of things. Like this is the horse that Bennett Foddy would design if he wanted to. Oh my god, I hate him so much.
But do you remember like when they announced Breath of the Wild and they did that gameplay thing and they were like, hey, the horse is gonna avoid trees, and we all took the piss because we were like, oh well, of course a horse is gonna avoid trees. What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
Ubisoft took that same code and turned all the zeros into ones. So now the horse just fucking aims for every tree it can find. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh my god.
I think we got spoiled as players. Like games have become so good that how many games are you sprinting in a field, you whistle, the horse swoops up behind you, you grab the horse at like Legolas in that one part where it's like kind of weird, and then like you just keep going.
Darksiders, dude.
Yeah,
you know,
and it works and it's awesome. And then here it doesn't. Like at all. Ask Amanda, like my reviewing, like grinding through this game, the amount of times she just hear me go, motherfucking goddamn horse.
The funny thing is like when you're running and you like whistle like, and then the horse, and you're like, come on, man, and then you whistle again. You're still just running in the same direction.
And then you finally turn around, and you're like, what are you doing? What are you?
I had one where I was riding the horse through a like a walled city or a walled settlement, and there was a beam on the ground, and the horse refused to go over the beam. So I had to get off the horse, walk through, and then I tried to call it, and it just got stuck. So I had to run away for a little bit and then call him in. I was like,
yeah,
we'll talk about this at home, man.
For sure. But look, I think it is interesting to see. It has met a very positive reception. And I think
people are digging it.
and it's selling. Like it's 3 million players now, and I think it's like a lot of people don't want to hear that it's selling well. The reality is, it is selling well, and like Ubisoft haven't released like sales data, but I personally don't believe that there's that many people subscribed to Ubisoft Plus. Like, sure, some absolutely, but there's no way you're going to convince me that like. 2.5 million of those 3 million people are subscribed to Ubisoft subscription service. Like the vast majority of those have got to be sales. And if they've done, 2.5 million units within the first week, it's their biggest digital launch on PlayStation on day one for any of their franchises, any of their games ever. It's sold very well box retail in the UK. It's their second biggest launch after Valhalla, which obviously had the halo effect of a holiday release, a console launch, making a launch title, plus and the COVID. Pandemic. And this is still doing big numbers. So, I mean, look, again, Jake and we don't really like it very much. But whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, like, a lot of people do like it, and it is actually successful, and there's no reason to suspect that it wouldn't continue selling over time. But I think more than that, like, it's just getting a good reception from people who accept it for what it is. And I think even
my sister is a huge Assassin's Creed fan. She has my PS5 in Australia, so like whenever I'm there, I take it. When I'm not, she has it, and she almost exclusively plays Assassin's Creed. She plays every single Assassin's Creed game, which is crazy because I guess she would like watch me play the Ezio trilogy, and then she started playing them much later. I did make her play God of War Ragnarok, but otherwise it's all Assassin's Creed. And she's really, really enjoying it. She's like, it's great. Like, this is the best one that I played. Like, it's as someone who is just basically The Sims and Assassin's Creed is like all she touches.
Yeah,
she's absolutely loving it. And that's like kind of some of the core audience that I think we can really easily forget.
That's
exists.
so true.
There are people who just play one franchise and don't see anything online and don't
I feel like
deal with the same tiredness we do as like people trying to review things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I feel like Assassin's Creed to me has the same sort of Call of Duty-esque quality, which is that like it attracts a lot of people who don't play a lot of video games. Like my brother, he hasn't played Assassin's Creed in a long time, but he still remembers very fondly. He doesn't play any video games, one of my brothers. And he still talks very fondly about Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And he still he still ruminates about the possibility of one day playing another video game. And if he did, it would be Tony Hawk. But if it was another one, it would be a new Assassin's Creed game. Like he would be interested in doing that. And I think this franchise has that kind of appeal to non-hardcore gamers. And I think when these people come into contact with a game like this, then they're like, yeah, cool. This is great. You know what I mean? Because they're not like sweating all the details like we do as like reviewers or whatever.
No, she's like, for example, again, so anecdotal, but she's a mom. She has 2 kids.
Wow.
She works full time. So my sister was like, she'll play like 2 hours or an hour a few nights a week. She's not consuming video games the same way that anyone here is. Yeah. And so I think the chip away effect. I think it works really well. You don't mind the repetition because maybe that repetition happened 2 weeks ago. And you're just like, oh, I know how to do this. Like it feels familiar rather than repetitive. I feel like there are so many, because people who are core gamers, like, I don't like saying hardcore gamers, but you know what I mean? Like people who listen to this podcast, like there are 2 different branches, and the way that we look at video games and the way that the casual
regular
market looks at video games are quite different.
People.
Yeah, they're just really different, and you can kind of really lose sight of that. Like I always try to remind people that when there was all this controversy around The Last of Us Part 2, it was like most gamers don't know what Naughty Dog is. I know it's really easy to forget when you're in it and you're really in the community and you talk about this stuff and all your friends talk about this stuff and you're like on top of all of the news. But broadly, the people buying The Last of Us Part 2 don't know what a Naughty Dog is. They certainly don't know who Neil Druckmann is. Video games are so much bigger than I think we give them credit for. And Assassin's Creed really feels like it's one of those like core casual games that, like people can just pick up and play really casually. And it's the one of the 2 games a year that they play maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, congrats
also,
to Ubisoft.
I feel like the amount of Shogun parallels, surely that's helped.
Yeah.
Oh, you reckon?
Surely. Like, surely at least one person has been like, oh, yeah, that's the same guy.
I really like that Shogun show.
Yeah.
Portuguese.
John Blackman.
You know my problem is I'm not comparing it to Ghost of Tsushima. I'm comparing it to the underrated GOAT Rise of the Ronin. Okay,
Ooh,
my weird little game.
Okay.
I love it.
Tell me
That's a cool take. I like that take.
Just similar world types. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of joking, but Rise of the Ronin is good.
No, but I mean,
Rise of the Ronin is good if you like weird shit.
Yeah, I personally didn't love it. I only played like 6 hours of it though. It just didn't vibe with me.
I also did not.
But
you had like little pals that you could bring back to your little home base or whatever, right?
In Assassin's Creed,
in Junjiro? Oh no, and Rise of the Ronin. I wanted to talk about Junjiro, and I was trying to think of like some nice segue because I just think he's neat. I love him.
But honestly,
I also like the base building stuff. That's cool too.
Yeah.
I disagree with that in the sense that like, you can make a pretty little base, but it's like, and again, that's kind of cool, but like that's just so disconnected from the core game. I would love to have seen that more deeply integrated. It's just like,
I don't know, like I like it, but also because it reminds me of like Dondoko Island.
Right.
No, Dondoko Island and all the stuff, all the random side shit you do in Yakuza. where it doesn't
completely
really
agree.
matter, but it is kind of nice, and then you kind of find yourself
It's
doing
like a
it
nice
for
little
life.
thing that's there that you can do, and it's not that complicated. It's nice.
Yes, I get. I fully agree.
I
What
just
I'm
think
saying
it's
is
neat.
no, but what I'm saying is I think it's cool. It's cool to the point where I wish it was actually more integrated into the game, because it was nice to see what you can build with this stuff. Like they put a lot of work into it, but it really was
cool
just like
shit.
a little diorama that you just build and then you just have off to the side. Whereas if it was kind of like something different, I think it would be quite.
I put as many dogs as I could. You can actually max out. Like you could put a dog on or like a little animal on all the tiles. Like there's a limit. Like you can't do the entire
Can
tile
you
set
send
of
me
animals.
a screenshot
Yeah, I
of your
will.
insane
Yeah,
dog land?
I will.
Put that in the newsletter.
Please do.
That's the second
Wait,
thing.
I do that. I will do that.
Yeah.
Please do self.
Yeah, I'll make a note.
Yeah, overall, I'm happy people are enjoying it. And I hope at the very least, like as much as I bagged on it, like looking on the bright side is that the little tiny trickles of Assassin's Creed stuff in the game, like from the old games, I'm hoping that maybe like that piques some people's interest and they want more, and that Ubisoft does take a lesson that, you know, maybe they still do some of that stuff, because I still worry about
Didn't
them
they try that with
running away from
Mirage
it.
though? Wasn't that Mirage's whole marketing tactic?
That was like in terms of like it's like the old games. I just mean like all the lore, all the weird stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
All the you know like
Glyphs
aliens and Abstergo.
The
and
first civilization.
Yeah.
Bring back
People who came
goddamn
before.
right.
what was it? Desmond Miles.
The
R.I.P., buddy.
undisputed king. We love him. Just another Nolan North character, because that was the time. Then it was Troy Baker. Now it's Ben Starr. Just have an Assassin's Creed character modern day. It's Ben Starr. It'll just feel like the same. It's good.
Yeah, agreed.
Or Matt Mercer.
Yeah,
Or
that's
Matt
true.
Mercer.
One or the other. Yeah.
All right, we have an interview with Alex Van Aken from the newly reformed Game Informer and user questions. But first, here's a word from our sponsor.
Hey, this podcast is brought to you by Factor. If you don't know, Factor delivers fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep, man. They make it super easy. You have all these great meals, a couple of minutes in the microwave, and you're good to go. Lucy, you're new to having this, right?
I am. And honestly, I'm kind of like one of those things where it's like, why didn't I do it before? Because as someone who is not the best at taking care of myself and making sure that I eat properly, and be someone who is very busy and travels a lot, it is so refreshing to know that I can have something that is just going to be sent to me each week that is going to be tasty, good for me, and is just ready to go, after, it's 9 p.m. here. We're still recording the podcast. After this, I'm just going to go put a Factor in the microwave for a couple minutes, and then I will have a delicious dinner at the end of it. So very thankful.
Honestly, the most valuable thing for people when you think about it is time. And so you have less time at the grocery store, less time worrying about meal prepping, and more time just focusing on doing whatever you want to do. And they offer a ton of different options, like for all different types of diets. They have add-ons, you can get juices, all kinds of fun stuff. So it's definitely worth checking out.
It's not just dinners too. They do breakfast and snacks. And there are something like 40 options across 8 different dietary preferences, which is wild. And you got one right there.
I've got one right here. It's delicious. I've got a spiced pork with turmeric chickpea rice. So there's like a big variety of stuff, from easy like grilled chicken and mashed potatoes to pastas and vegetarian options. They really do have.
Oh, the cheddar grits are so good too. They're my favorite.
I didn't take you for a grits person.
I'm not normally, but they were really good, genuinely. So if you want to eat smart with Factor, you can get started at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast. Use code Factor Podcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That is code Factor Podcast at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast. Get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Thank you again to Factor for sponsoring this episode. Time for a user question. This one comes from the email address, which is contact@friendspersecond.com. Or if you send stuff to us, actually, someone sent us a really good one on Blue Sky. Maybe I'll put that one in. But also we have the Substack, friendspersecond.substack.com, that we definitely do every episode.
Absolutely, everyone.
Absolutely every episode. But this one, because we also ask if you want to read the question aloud and send us the MP3, please do that.
If you're crazy enough to do that.
Well, we have a couple of good ones this
Oh
week.
boy.
So, and now that we're using Riverside, not sponsored because we pay for it, we can all listen to it together and not have to awkwardly time it. So here we go. Here is our question from Izzy Scribbles.
Hey, friends per second. This is Izzy from Philly. I was curious, based on your conversation about Monster Hunter Wilds, maybe you're just too good at it, and that's why it might feel too easy. Not that this is exactly how it is for you, but maybe it's just like One Punch Man, where everything is so easy for him that nothing is interesting anymore. So here's a chance to humble brag. What is an example of something that you are very skilled at and thus has become a bit trivial for you? Thank you for tucking me into bed with my shoes tied, and take care.
Nice question.
I also want to say, I also want to give Izzy a shout out because the MP3 is called One Game Them. .mp3 instead of One Punch Man, which
Love it.
I really enjoyed.
That's good.
That's cool.
So that did
Cool.
not
No,
go
it's actually,
unnoticed.
it's funny. I did get some comments. We did get some comments in the episode 2 weeks ago about exactly this. It's kind of like, are you actually just really good at Monster Hunter now and you don't realize it? And that's why
I know
seems
for
really
a
easy.
fact I'm not.
So
I'm
do
not.
I, right? Because
Yeah,
I
I'm
played
bad.
a fair amount of Worlds, but not a lot. I didn't play Iceborne. Is Iceborne? Was it?
Ice something was the expansion for that.
I didn't even play that expansion. Okay.
I didn't either.
Then I played Rise and I finished that, but didn't play Sunbreak, the expansion.
Mhm.
I have not played any Monster Hunter between that time. And furthermore, there are significant parts of I'm using like Switchblade right now, a Switch axe, in Monster Hunter. And there are parts of that kit in terms of combos and moves that I don't even fucking use because they're too hard, or at least I don't remember to use them. But there's an ability to like counter monsters when they're about to like drop down on a big attack. You can like press a button that kind of basically just like you do an attack at the same time and it kind of parries them. I've done that like maybe twice in a 40-hour playthrough because it's just like I'm not good enough to be able to do that. So the short answer to that question is I'm definitely not a good Monster Hunter player. However, I'm obviously better than when I started at the beginning of Worlds, where I'd only played like a little bit on the the 3DS or whatever. So definitely gone through a big part of the learning curve there. But I think if you look at the broad Monster Hunter community, most of them agree that the difficulty tuning is not right for that game. Right. So that's a separate point. Answer to your question though, is there something that I'm just like naturally pretty good at? For some reason, I'm actually really good at bullet hell games. I don't know why. It's the only thing I would ever claim, but for some reason, my brain can just do that very easily. And that's why, for example,
thought you were going to say tennis.
No,
I hoped for it. It was in my head before. Immediately, I was like,
the tennis of video games, right? If you think about it.
But like, it is the
It really is.
video games. You're right. Actually, maybe that's why. No. Returnal, right? So everyone was like,
Banger.
Returnal is fucking impossible, man. It's the hardest game ever, blah, blah. And I'm like, nah. I found it challenging, of course, don't get me wrong. But I was also quite aware that for some unknown reason, I can handle bullet hell games. And that's just something that I have always been able. I think maybe it's because I grew up on the NES and we played like a lot of Gradius, you know what I mean, growing up. And that sort of genre of game back then, shmups, I played a lot of them. And that's stuck with me since. But bullet health. That's what I got. It's the one thing I can do pretty decently.
I used to be a pretty good Moira player on Overwatch.
Okay.
But like I am really struggling to think of a game or something that I am really good at, like brag worthy.
Does it have to be a video game?
Oh well,
No.
Let's blow it open. What else you got?
Okay.
Mine is it's not because you didn't phrase it like brag worthy. It's just like something that you've become so good at that it's become trivial, even though it might be hard to other people, right? Mine would definitely be like presenting or following a run of show. Like I've just done it for so long that you can just like throw me on a camera and a lot of people around me will be like, "Whoa, what's the next segment?" And I'm like, you can tell me with 2 seconds notice and I'm good. And that's just that I'm just so used to doing it. And like we did it at IGN E3 live shows and you have like, second countdowns and stuff's changing on the fly. So that to me is trivial now, where like I will watch other people panic about preparation for being on camera or being on a panel or doing like one of those live things. And I'm just like, I'm never worried about this at all. I imagine you guys are probably the same on that one. Like that is really nerve-wracking or stressful to a lot of people, but to us, that's just like, piece of cake, don't need any prep. You don't even need to send me an email. Tell me what I'm doing 2 minutes beforehand and I'm fine.
Mine was going to be pogo stick. I can jump on a pogo stick
What?
literally 24 hours straight.
Can you really?
Yeah.
What?
Can you fucking film that shit?
Yeah, I don't believe you.
I want to make it and film it. No,
I haven't
I'm
done
not
it in
even
a couple of
joking.
years.
I want to see a clip of that on next week's show. All right? Okay.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll have to go out and buy one. I don't even think I have one
Oh,
anymore.
that's
But
how
I
much
was-
of a pro he is. He doesn't
Yeah.
even have.
He
a
Doesn't
pogo
even.
stick.
He can just imagine pogoing at this point. That's how advanced he is.
Begins pogoing.
definitely.
He's pogoing in his head right now.
No, but how would
we
you
all-
describe
Unironically,
your?
I'm really good at pogo stick.
I could just do it like very easily forever. Like I don't know. I just like, I'm not
Forever?
doing tricks or anything, but like I like my record is like I lost count.
Have you seen
Wow.
those like trick pogoers? By the way,
Oh,
the
it's
people
fucking
that,
Yes.
awesome.
It's
Yeah, they're
crazy.
doing like parkour pogo sticking.
it's wild.
I can't do that.
It's terrifying.
Well, maybe if you bought a pogo stick, you could.
How would you
Maybe.
rate your Tony Hawk skills out of 10, like compared to like a professional versus a complete novice? Where are you?
If there was like an esports of Tony Hawk, I'd say probably like an 8.
Okay.
Like I watch hardcore players online, like in Thug Pro, the like modded PC community version, and I see them do stuff that I can't do,
Right.
and like I still have to like, dust the cobwebs off every once in a while to like easily just bust a 2 million combo. Like it takes a while for me.
Yeah.
But in terms of like finding other people to play with, like friends, Tony Hawk is a game we all grew up playing. So anyone I know will be like, oh yeah, I'll play some Tony Hawk, and then I just completely
them.
body them,
Of
and I'm
course.
like, oh man. But then like,
Someone bring
then
me
there's
a
people
real
like that with
challenge.
Super
my
Smash
bad.
Bros.
After you've asked them to play
But
with
then
you.
there's people like that with Smash, where like I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
even touch them, and
Yeah.
it's like they like I'll like or Rocket League. I know some people who don't play a lot of games, but they play Rocket League, and they invited me to play, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll play fucking Rocket League with you, and got absolutely dumpstered. And it just happens. It's good to be humble. In terms of the question, what was it? Kind of like things that
What are you
you're
really good at that you can brag about?
and it kind of
to the
becomes like
extent that it's
tedious
become
for you.
trivial.
Yeah,
Trivial. Like it's like you don't even think about it anymore.
Is it weird that I can't think of a specific example, but like
You already said pogo stick. What could be weird?
that was I'm thinking of gaming. Like I'm bringing it back to gaming. Damn it. I think like, and I'm sure a lot of people have this, but like after a while in certain games, I can be like, oh, I see where this is going. Whether it's like mission design or like just like the way a level is laid out, where I'm like, okay, I know what I'm
Totally.
doing here. All right, yeah, I know what happens when I go right. I know I'm going to see this over here, and then I'll come over here. I don't have a
Yeah,
specific
or like
example.
if there's like boxes laid out, like you'll be like,
Oh,
oh, there's
yeah.
someone's gonna bust through that door.
Yeah.
That's definitely a thing where you just play too many video games. You can see level design.
I got that from working at a haunted house too. So like now when I go to haunted house attractions, I see that. Like I'm like, oh, why is fucking guy's gonna pop out of this over here? It just happens.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2 I was really good at.
Okay.
I played it on Insanity a bunch of times.
Did you
Okay.
save everybody on who did you save on the suicide run?
Every single person on my first try.
Oh
God
shit!
damn.
Without a guide, come
damn.
on. Without a guide.
Without a guide.
Impressive.
Ah man.
Yeah. The secret
crazy.
is to do everyone's loyalty mission because you become so obsessed with the game and then just like think about it a lot when they are really clearly signposting to you who to send on which missions.
Yep. Yep.
But also in terms of like things that are not video games, I would have to say like crochet. It's just very
Ooh.
mindless and just
Okay.
just don't even think about it. Like
Yep.
I'm just thinking like, hey, half double crochet, no problem. Working in the
That's cool.
round, easy. Anyway, thank you for your question,
Great
Izzy.
question.
Now it's a great question.
Yeah.
Now we have an interview with Alex Van Aken, who was at Game Informer, and then the publication sadly shut down last year, but now it's back with a new hat. Sorry, Simpsons. Anyway, we talked to Alex about what it's like having Game Informer back. Roll VT. Roll the clip. That's what Jake says.
Alex, hey man, how's it going?
Hey, how are you, Jake? Good to be back.
Good. Yeah, it's good to have you back because of the whole resurgence of Game Informer.
Yeah.
This is extremely cool.
Total polar opposite of the last time I was on the show where we were talking about me losing that job.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's-
Yeah, we totally swung back around.
When
Yeah.
was
So-
that, by the way? What was the date on that? I'm trying to remember.
August. Well, I don't know the episode, but
Sure.
I got laid off August 2nd.
Yeah,
2024.
I think it was definitely around then because we had you guys on.
It was
and
that same week, I think. Like those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it's-
what was it like after that point, were you guys still
Dude, getting
in
laid
touch?
off
Were you all
was
just hunting for other jobs? Like, yeah, like what?
being laid off was awesome, man. You know, I didn't do much of anything. Yeah, so yeah, we got laid off in August. We did stay in touch. We're a very close-knit crew. Like a lot of us at Game Informer are local to Minneapolis. I moved here for the job during COVID, and you know, we just kind of, you know, Game Informer, MinMax, you know, friends like Elise, Favis, you know, there's plenty of people we can, there's a lot of Polygon people here. We all kind of are pretty tight knit and keep in touch. And after we lost our jobs, it was so sudden and unexpected, genuinely unexpected, that we just kept touch via the Slack that we had. And at first it was a lot of sharing job postings, and I would say like in mid to late September, Matt Miller, I'll probably call him Miller for the rest of the show, that's what I'm talking about, he's the editor-in-chief of Game Informer, my boss. He reached out and he's like, hey, I just want to keep you all in the loop that there are some conversations happening, there's some interested parties in acquiring Game Informer. I don't know a ton of details, but they've told me that, you know, the first thing that they would want to do is rehire all of us. It's probably a long shot. You should continue looking for jobs.
Yeah.
But I'm going to follow this and see what happens and keep you all updated. And then I would say there are a few of those kind of similar conversations over the next couple of months. And then in mid to late November, things really started to pick up and seemed like it might be real. And then in mid-December, right before Christmas, we were told like, okay, this is you should expect a job offer. Like this thing, it seems like is happening. And you know, we didn't end up starting until about like February 17th, but we had been talking about it for, you know, 6 months at that point. Yeah. And everybody came back. I mean, I know like the choice to come back there were a lot of factors at play. I told them there was a number of things that were kind of non-negotiables on my end. And I think a lot of those were shared amongst the team, like raises and like editorial independence, because we knew that we were being purchased by, you know, a company that had a portfolio of gaming products, which also included a game studio. They also have a couple of like social apps, and I think they might have like some aerospace investments. I'm not really sure, but it was like, okay, well, if this is going to be a thing, like it has to like not be a cash grab. And in my like interview, I'm putting quotations for listeners around the word interview, because it was really more of like they wanted to hire us, and it was like, is this a good fit? You know, is this
right?
And one of my really big talking points that I spoke with Alina, she's now the publisher of Game Informer, or no, she's the vice president of strategy or something. I don't know. She's Matt's boss. Very nice woman, but she was like the representative from Game Groove and Gunzilla. There's kind of like there is Game Groove, which is like a capital fund that has a lot of that then is in charge of like several assets. But Alina is kind of like with that whole, it's kind of complicated. I don't know a ton about it, but I did know enough to like, okay, I really want assurance that 6 months down the line, if we are still not profitable, which is probably going to be the case, like it's going to take time to build this thing back up. Like, are you just going to flip the asset and we're all going to be gone again? Cause like, I'm not down for that. And they're like, no, this is like we are not planning to sell this property. Like we've been, I guess Game Group and Gunzilla had been wanting to get into the media space for a while. And then when Game Informer shut down, Matt Miller had put out some posts publicly that were like, if you want to work with this team, reach out to me. They saw that, they were like, it kind of aligns perfectly with what we want to do. And I kind of lost my train of thought. Sorry. But that was essentially like, they are looking at this as like a long-term investment. And like I kind of view it as like, I guess like the way I understand it is like we're kind of like a prestige piece, and like they really respect Game Informer. And I think from the start, everybody involved were like, okay, well, we're not going to do this if it's not editorial independent. Like if you're going to be telling us what to do, if you're going to want us to shill your products, like it's just, I'm not going to come back. And I think I would say 100% of everybody on the team was also in the same boat, especially editorial, obviously. And they're like, no, they totally understand that this is not going to make them money if they meddle and try to tell us what content to produce. And to their credit, for the last, I've been working at Game Informer full time for a little over a month now. Had conversations with them in December, January. They have stuck true to that promise. Like our working relationship is great because they leave us alone. And of course we've like collaborated on like the business side of like, we had to launch this thing, right? But like editorial, what we cover, our opinions on games, all of that, it's all us, and there's no interference whatsoever. And the second that changes, I think you'll see us saying stuff about it.
Sure.
We kind of have a history of working for parent companies that have, that relationship has always been,
dicey.
Yeah, no, totally.
Like you have to separate church and state, and I think Game Informer, I think have a good track record of that. Like, but I'm sorry, I've kind of taken over. This is your podcast.
That's all good.
I was just talking. I was yapping.
No, that was all really useful. I guess it kind of definitely leads into one of the major questions that people have around this situation, which, for anyone unfamiliar, so you've described a sort of a group that has a bunch of investments. One of their investments is a studio, Gunzilla Games, and it seems as though they're the ones that have taken ownership of the Game Informer property, and they're sort of leading this, as I understand it. Yeah. So,
my understanding is that the people at the top of the fund are also at the top of that studio.
Got it. Okay, yeah.
And so they kind of just like are the ones who are managing the money and stuff as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, the studio Gunzilla Games is working on an NFT game, which we don't love NFT games around these parts. I personally don't. I mean, like most people that we speak to don't like NFT games, right? And they're just being totally upfront about that. And I think you definitely saw some of that chatter in the response to this news. It's kind of like, what the fuck? So, could you talk to that aspect of it? Like, did that ever come up in your discussions about the way Game Informer approaches NFT games or blockchain, or were there any guardrails put in place around how you approach that? Because it's obviously a really tenuous topic of conversation in the game space.
There have been conversations. Like I think we were expecting this to be part of the conversation, and I think we've been pretty open with like this. Game Informer has nothing to do with NFTs. I have shared my own opinions in the past on my thoughts on all of that. And so have other staff members. And I think it goes back to like, we are going to say what we're going to say. And they understand that the business isn't going to work otherwise. But as far as like Gunzilla Games, I obviously I haven't really talked to anybody there, so I can't give much insight into like, the strategy behind NFTs or that kind of thing. Like they've agreed, we've agreed, kind of like, you're going to just let us do our thing, you know, and provide resources. We're going to make you money and we're good. That's why they set up Game Informer as like, it is a separate company. Like my paychecks come from Game Informer Inc. There is no real oversight from Gunzilla. And I don't know a lot about their business operations. Honestly, I have not played their game. We're not going to become shills for it all of a sudden.
Sure.
I can say that our working relationship, them and how they treat us, they have treated us very well. I'll say that so far. But I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that absolutely answers the question. I totally get it. I think that's one of the awkward realities of a lot of games media ownership these days. Sometimes a lot of the time there's some awkward deals being made with like, venture capitalists and different entities. Like if you really trace back who is funding a lot of games media these days, yeah, it can get quite murky.
Yeah, and I think like especially, I mean, I've been thinking about it for a while, but especially the past few days, seeing people talk about it, you know. And I've kind of been like coming back to a couple thoughts myself just about the whole thing. And like I feel really proud of Game Informer and that we have navigated these weird relationships that have, you know, that I mean, we've been owned by several companies in the past, you know, and we have really stuck to our guns. We've called things out when, you know, when things aren't good, and we you know, our coverage has remained, you know, fair and honest. And you know, in a world of capitalism, if you follow the money long enough, this is my personal thought, by the way, you know, you're going to find something you probably don't agree with. And I think in that world, no matter what your job is, trying to do something good with the resources you can acquire is ultimately a net good. I know there are probably people that might disagree with that, but that's my personal take.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah, I totally understand all of that. I think it's all fair questions. Like I said, we were expecting it.
I think as well, and I get to that point you alluded to earlier, it's like you have managed those things in the past well, in the sense that, like, you know, GameStop used to own you, and I'm sure that, like, you know, GameStop would want you to say positive things about every game, so they'd sell more games, and you just become
and we don't, right? You know,
exactly right. So I mean, like, I think
sorry,
you have a track record.
You.
No, that's fine. I was like, you have a track record there of being able to navigate that awkward stuff pretty well, you know.
Yeah, and that kind of extends to the cover stories too. You know, like people always think we get paid for the cover stories, and we're paid for good impressions. You know, there have been several. The only cover story I ever wrote, the first word in it was underwhelming. And you know, like looking back at our last cover story before we were shut down, Frank Stone, you know, we reviewed, one of the things we've done since we've been away is we have like a backlog of reviews that for games that we missed because we were laid off. We reviewed Frank Stone. I mean, we scored it fair. We gave it a 5.5. You know, it's, even if you're on our cover, you're, you know, it's not. Yeah. It's just, you know, you have to be honest about it. Whether you're talking about a parent company or, you know, the games you're covering. Yeah,
absolutely.
So you mentioned like the, you know, having the resources and where they came from, you know, making the best of them. I know you guys are still kind of getting the ball, you know, rolling again, but have you had bigger conversations of like what Game Informer can be now that it's not hamstrung by, you know, a GameStop?
We are having a lot of those conversations. There are a lot of things coming back and that are going to be improved. A lot of the reasons we don't have those concrete answers yet is simply because Game Groove was like, we don't want y'all working until you're getting paid. And so by the time we were able to get, you know, they had to set up a whole new company in the United States, benefits, all that. It took honestly a while. And so, you know, we started work about a month ago. We got the website back and we had to get all of that old content online. It was very complicated. And so like the fact that the website is up right now and you can view it is kind of a miracle, I would say, just personally speaking. But yeah, right now that we are back live, so about 50% of our time is going to be like active current content production, you know, videos going up on the channel, you know, game reviews going out. And then the other half of our time is building and planning for expansion. You know, we have some pretty clear goals internally that like we, you know, are wanting to grow the team in a smart way. You know, one of our non-negotiables coming back was like, we don't want to be a skeleton crew anymore. We were, you know, that's a lot of hard work and was a lot of long hours, and you're kind of burning the candle from both ends. Like that has to change. And so that's going to be a priority. You know, bringing back stuff like the Game Informer show, you know, our cover stories, the magazine, the physical magazine, that stuff is going to come back. It's just like, I mean, we've been actively talking to printers. Like we, you know, we've got quotes. We have, I don't know the legality of what I can comment on, but like, we have like reached out to old partners and be like, okay, how can we, you know, get our supplies chain up and running again, and how do we improve the paper quality? And the current plan is for the magazine to be bigger, and that's going to require more people. And so it's just frankly speaking, like more people on staff, you know, higher freelance budgets. You know, we all got, I think like the baseline raise that everybody got coming back was like a 30% raise.
Not bad.
I ended up, after I got a promotion, my raise ended up being 54% from what I made in August. So like we are very, like I am earning a livable wage now. It's awesome.
You weren't before then.
I would say no.
Okay, right. That's a shame.
I mean, I would say I made it work. My wife and I, but yeah, like they are taking care of us. They are honoring, you know, our editorial independence. They are, you know, there have been a couple times with like, hey, what do you think about this? And we're like, nope. And they're like, oh, got it. Okay, cool. Do your thing. You know what's best. And it's like,
cool.
Like I've already seen moments where they're like, you know, broaching a topic, and then we're like, nope, we're not comfortable with that. And they're like, got it. Cool.
Okay.
Like
cool.
they've been, I've seen it in action already. And it wasn't anything malicious or anything. It was just like, you know, as we're starting the business up, they have questions and we're like, no, we can't do this. Yes, we can do this. And it's been really awesome. It feels weird. Like it feels weird still. But so far so good.
Do you think there's going to be anything? So you talked about how it's going to be bigger this time and you're better resourced coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's going to be anything different in terms of like your philosophy, your approach, your business model, whatever it is? Like, you know, is there going to be a different approach that you guys will take this time around?
Yes, there's going to be some new things. We are going to be exploring, and I don't want to get into it just because it's not concrete yet. So I don't want to make promises, but we're looking at, several membership tiers we're going to introduce, and that's going to get you a suite of perks, both online and in the physical magazine. We're looking at all of that. And really looking at like what the current state of, you know, digital journalism looks like. What are the business models out there that are working? What's not? We've been working very hard behind the scenes to like make this thing sustainable, and all signs point to that being a possibility. And I will say, like, when we were shut down, I think I said it on the show back then, we were doing really well. Like I think people kind of thought we weren't doing well, and like I saw that narrative a couple places, like, oh well, of course they shut down their print magazine in 2024. Like we were doing well, so we were like honestly shocked when we were shut down.
So are you saying that Game Informer back then was profitable?
I haven't seen the latest numbers from 2024. I can tell you in 2022 I saw numbers, and yes, we were profitable.
Okay.
By like a decent margin.
Right. And there's no reason to suspect that would have had like a massive drop off into 2024. Maybe some attrition, but you couldn't imagine that it would be like, there's no reason the Game Informer would have had like a 60% drop in profitability from 2022 to 24.
I honestly, I don't know. There were factors at play for sure. Like with the magazine being taken away and brought back, like there was some of that stuff, but like, yeah, like we were doing well. There was a lot of enthusiasm behind the relaunch subscription last year. It was constantly growing, and it was really exciting. So like when that news was just so sudden to us, because we were feeling like, oh, things are going well. So we're excited to kind of get another shot, because we were,
yeah. Right. And so you're saying that the changes that you're imagining are sort of on the business model side. Do you imagine many changes on the content side?
I think so,
for,
too.
More, like even bigger?
I know we're exploring several things, like getting a studio. Cool. And I have pitched several ideas for new content that would kind of be more feature focused and more of like series, but it was like, okay, we need resources to do this, right? I personally speaking, want to reinvent the Game Informer show a bit. I've had the idea for like months now, to kind of make it more of a more highly edited show, not scripted or anything, but like just a little different, more I hate using the word, but like cinematic. I think that I hate that word. But Yeah. And there's a lot of that stuff happening on a lot of our old shows. I mean, there are some shows that and I'm not going to name them right now, but there are some things I'm like, I don't know if this serves us, you know? And some of those are my calls. Some of them are not my calls, you know? But yeah, we're just kind of taking it day by day and slowly building back up. But I think we're hoping the magazine will come back in the next like couple months. Miller said on the MinMax show this past week, he said a couple weeks. I think he was being a little facetious. I'm not sure, but we've been talking about all of that. So we're excited to get started on it now that like we can talk publicly about it. That was like a big challenge. So that was step one. We're calling it phase one, was like getting the website back online, having folks go and register free accounts. They get access to the digital archive and of magazines and, you know, all sorts of stuff. And phase two is going to be like bringing the magazine back amongst other things. But yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, that's all I got, Jake. Eric, and anything else?
I'm curious, like, is there any story behind the website and the fact that you guys got the website up? So is everybody's work mostly preserved? Like,
Everybody
that had to have been a big undertaking.
Yeah, it's ongoing. I mean, there is like a large team that we have, like an external team that is helping us get everything back online timely, as well as like our internal team has been working countless hours on it. But yeah, the content is there. We had like a wild amount of users on when we first launched, and the servers got bombarded. So if a listener out there has signed up for an account and hasn't gotten their like confirmation email or anything, it's because we're sending it out in waves so we don't crash the site. But we're working on getting everything like super stable again. But a lot of that was just like, yeah, taking this defunct website and making it functional again was a very hard thing to do.
Sure.
And there might be some quirks you'll see, you know, over the next couple of weeks, but we're working on it pretty much around the clock. So yeah.
And the keys to the castle, essentially also socials and a YouTube channel as well.
Yep. We have all of that. We're back in.
Cool.
That's great.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So it's like,
it's nice that you guys were, that, you know, is able to be sold. And what I mean by that is like sometimes, you know, these companies just sit on IP like fucking stuff goblins and just have it and they don't do anything with it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's good that they're like, all right, we don't want this. Let's sell it to someone who will use it. Do you know what I mean? Like
I am very thankful for that, that they did that. But yeah, like I logged into the YouTube channel for the first time like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. And I was like, oh, this feels so weird. Like
the YouTube channel is like,
yeah, exactly. And we were all joking internally. We're like, thank God our last video on the channel isn't going to be a squirrel with a gun, a gameplay video. Like,
nah, man, like, come on. There are worse ways to go out, man. There are worse ways to go out.
No shade to that game. Just like I would have wished it was like some awesome, you know, swan song. But yeah, it's good to be back. And it's nice to have the keys to the kingdom again.
That's cool. So in terms of like how people can support you guys, is it just head over to the website, sign up, create an account?
That is it.
And then
that's
the pathway in. And then after that, you guys will roll out membership tiers and people can decide for themselves how they want to do it. Okay.
Exactly. So yeah, everything right now is free. So you go sign up, wait for your confirmation email, make your account. You can read, I think it's like over 100 issues we have on there right now. I think it's our 2012 to 2024 catalog of magazines. You can go and read all of it for free.
That's great.
We're going to have some like exclusive newsletter stuff. I think I'm breaking down like the making of, we did some teaser videos where like I 3D modeled like some Metroids and Portal stuff. And
cool.
I think I'm going to like show like the behind the scenes of that kind of thing. Stuff like that you're not going to get on the website. You're going to get in the newsletter once a week. But yeah, that's like the call to action. That's what we need. That's our version of Steam wish lists.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Alex, Godspeed. Good luck. We're happy to have you guys back and keep us posted, man.
Yeah. I hope I'll see y'all this summer at SGF.
Absolutely. Definitely.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Okay, man. Bye.
All right. And we're back with a second user question. This one is from Matthew Wakeham.
Oh, I know who this is. He's a friend of the show. He goes way back.
Yeah, he's a friend of the show. Userquestion.mp3. Okay.
Hello, Jake, Ralph, and Lucy. Big love for FPS and all that yous do. I actually came to a live show at Gamescom last year, and I love the shenanigans that went down. Anyway, enough babbling. My question is, you are all from 3 different parts of the world. Is there any slang or phrases one another uses, and you've been like, I'm sorry, what, mate? With Atom 4 dropping and me being from the north of England, I finally feel seen in video games, and I expect it to blow Americans' brains. So is there anything that one another has said and you've been like, what? Or even how they pronounce it with me being like a bottle of water. And I can't say water properly compared to a lot of people. Anyway, have a great week.
Even the way you say Atom 4.
Atom 4.
Atom 4 got me. I was like, all right, that's not how that's pronounced.
Because I know Jake has played Atom 4.
Yeah, there's some stuff.
That was legit, so I did want to talk about it. But also, I just really like this question. Because I feel like we have one of those moments every so often. Where
you guys will make fun of me. Yeah.
If we're talking about who's being made fun of for sounding funny, it's...
Yeah, true.
There was recently I said torch, and I was like, what do they call that in America? And you said flashlight. And Ralph was like, we say that. And I went downstairs and asked my mum. I was like, what do you call this? And she was like, that's torch. And I was like, you wouldn't call that a flashlight? And she went, no. And I was like,
well, that settles it then. Alana's mum is the arbiter on what we call stuff in Australia.
Torch.
And she has decided that it's
Son of a bitch.
a torch.
That's great.
Yeah, I think that was 2 weeks ago.
I mean, I think the problem is we basically hear most American slang. You know what I mean? Like, and
there's
like
nothing surprising.
And even like, especially you're from like Long Island or whatever. So unless you got some special Long Island shit that we don't know about, because even like if there's Long Island, Jersey, New York, like we get it all. Like we even know like Bukyak for whatever from Sopranos. Do you know what I mean? Like we fucking have everything on tap down here. You know what I mean? So
you know what? I did used to keep a Google note of weird things in America that you couldn't get away with in the UK. Like creamery. Come on, man.
What is that?
Like it's like an ice cream shop, but they call it a creamery. I'm like,
what? Yeah, I never heard that before. Is that a thing? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of like an oldie time, phrase.
No, Ralph. Cold Rock is called an ice creamery.
Yeah. Ice creamery, yes. But then there's just calling it. But also, isn't that an American company, that brand? Or is it Australian?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was.
That checks out.
I can't remember the last time I floored. I think like I just hit you guys with like what are you gonna do? And you guys were like,
the highlight was raw dogging. That was a good one. When you're like, I just raw dogged that flight, and I'm like, that really made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think I've started adopting that in most aspects of life.
Oh. Yeah, I use it for I abuse that phrase. I almost like dropped it in front of my mom the other day. I had to like stop myself for a second.
She won't know what it means. It's okay. It's safe. It's fine. It's all good.
I will say Atomfall has a lot of weird words where I almost texted you, Lucy. I was like, what the fuck? The only one I can remember off the top of my head, like at the moment, a lot of times you'll encounter bad guys and they'll be like, let's not have a Barney then. And I'm like, what the fuck is a Barney?
A Barney is like a fight.
A Barney's a fight.
Okay.
A Barney is having a Barney.
That's kind of what I thought, but I was like, what a word for it, man.
I mean, there is some British slang that is like when you talk about Cockney rhyming slang.
Yeah,
I'm from the Northeast,
a lot of that here as well.
So it's like the Northeast. There's a lot of Scots that's kind of come down, and so in my like. If you're referring to a child, you'll call them a wee bairn, which is Scottish for like a small kid. It's like a wee bairn. Or, I don't know, in the Northeast, they just say "ee" a lot. Like,
what? What does it mean?
What is that?
Right.
That's we just go, hey.
Hey, no. So, right. If someone is saying something to you and there is drama, you'd be like, "ee." If something is concerning, no, you gotta soften it. And then it's like, so if something's really exciting, you're like, that's amazing. Anyway, so we've got
sorry.
we are really versatile with our vowels.
Wow.
I like it. That's cool.
Yeah.
What kind of I remember I actually hung out with Maddie, who asked this question. We had some beers and stuff.
All right.
What are some slang phrases for like being wasted or drunk? He had some interesting ones. I can't remember them.
We've got pissed. We have common for Australians.
What do you
Pissed,
say?
smashed,
being pissed.
It's like para. Para is like short for paralytic.
Yeah. British slang for being drunk.
Slosh.
Googling.
You gotta
Sloshed
consider-
is good. Smashed. Rat-arsed.
Right ass.
Smashed is good.
Yeah.
3 sheets to the wind.
Shit.
Wankered.
Wankered I haven't
Wankered.
heard. I don't know about that one.
Sozzled.
Yep, that was a good one.
Sozzled
actually.
is very like my
That's a good
mum
one.
would use.
Exactly
sozzled.
right. Absolutely.
Mortal.
Mortal.
Absolutely mortal.
Heard that.
That's pretty great,
Yeah.
actually.
Like Mortal Kombat.
Absolutely the
Yeah.
same.
Did my webcam freeze for all of you?
It
It
did.
sure
It looks
did,
like
yeah.
you're taking your headset off like a little crown.
Turn that back
Yeah.
on. Still doing it.
Australians' most
Okay, back.
biggest contribution to the broader slang lexicon is our versatile use of the C word that we're not allowed to say on this podcast, otherwise it'll get
Oh, yeah.
demonetized.
Yeah. But no, I would say in Australia, your slang contribution is adding O to the end of things, like arvo.
Yeah,
You know.
servo.
I do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abbreviating things actually is kind of our deal. Like
Yeah.
pregnant becomes like preggers. For
Very
example.
lazy.
Prego.
Yeah, I like
One
that.
of my
I think it's fun.
favorites
No, it's not prego,
of Australian
preggers.
slang. Whenever
Oh,
I
prego. Yeah, yeah.
yeah preggers. Whenever I go home, is the phrase "It's a bit how you going," which can mean so many things.
That's some real
Wow.
in the same
Barron
way as
shit there.
E. Yeah, it's like if I a recent example is I ordered a cider, and they were like, "It's a bit how you going." And
Yeah,
in that
that's so
context,
true.
it meant it was really strong. Like the alcohol
But it's a
content
very
was very strong.
versatile. It's a very
Yeah, I mean,
versatile
anything.
phrase.
I like
Say
that.
however you
That's
want.
great.
It's a bit how you going.
Like, how was the
Absolutely.
movie? A bit how you going.
Yeah.
Like, it can mean so many things, and I'm a huge fan.
It's such a weird way.
I like that question. Thank you very much, Matty, for that question.
Yeah.
And if we think of any more slang, I really feel like Thank Goodness You're Here did a lot for introducing British slang. Although I kind of had to explain to a lot of people what a nonce is, and yeah, you can Google that one yourself. But Atomfall, Jake, we'll jump into what we've been playing because I do want to hear more about it.
Yeah, it's a good time. I think I enjoyed it more because I went in so completely blind. I didn't know anything about it other than that Rebellion made it. I like Rebellion. They've been around for a long time now. So I kind of went into it like, oh, what's this about then?
What's all this then?
So yeah, it was kind of fun just kind of uncovering and unfurling what it is, because the trailers didn't totally make it super clear, and then you hear that it's like a survival game. It's not really. It's kind of like a very, very light Fallout, like a baby Fallout, like in terms of the faction stuff, mixed with kind of like an endless kind of fuck around investigation-y type mystery solving, like almost like The Witness, with some shooting and combat here and there that's very simple, kind of like a BioShock, I guess, mixed into like a Atomic Heart style weird world where it's post-apocalyptic but also robotic, in a beautiful landscape. And it really, really hit because it just drops you in and you're just a guy. Like, you're just like this generic guy in this wasteland. You don't know what's going on. So it's up to you to figure it out. And how the game kind of throws objectives at you is investigations. So instead of like quest lists and quest markers, you kind of just have like a notes page that is constantly just filling up with leads. The more you just talk to people, the more you click on things, the more you learn about the world. And they're all kind of different avenues you can pursue, that don't necessarily have like boxes to check. But, you know, it's just because it's zoned. It's like open zones, so that, you know, when you load into another open world zone area, you're like, oh, there's like 8 things on my list. I should probably go look over there and maybe talk to that guy again and see if something happens. That I just like the way that all kind of worked. It kind of is centered around a couple of people, and you can kind of choose who to fuck over, who to kind of work with, maybe work with them, but then kind of go behind their back and help the other person. But it's not super spelled out. It's not very like broadcasted in your face how this stuff will go down, which I really like. I also...
What's the balance between The Witness and a survival game? Like,
the survival stuff is pretty light. It's very much, it's more, I guess I would say, like survival horror in terms of just like tight resource management, which this is what's really cool. This is what I really dug, is that the resource management is very, very, like, you only have a couple of spots. So it's like, okay, I know I'm going to deal with a bunch of guys, so like I should probably bring like 2 Molotov cocktails and 2 healing items because I suck, and then I have enough for my melee weapon and my gun, right? Stuff like that. 5 bullets, whatever. But then the system of the game is based around bartering. So when you meet a trader or you go into town at the shop, it's a barter system. So think of something like you have the Resident Evil 4 inventory, but then when you go to the merchant and you want that pistol, you have to give him 3 green herbs. And essentially it's a lot of like throwing stuff at these different merchants and seeing what they like. Like if you have like a rebellious, like revolutionary trader, you'll be like, all right, here, how about 2 grenades? And you see it balance on the scale. They're like, oh, fuck yeah, I love grenades. So then you have more buying power, essentially, where you can get something cool from them. So I really just like that system. And I like that the game just kind of thinks really creatively about things like that. It's also just a fun mystery to kind of unfurl. It's kind of it's like vaguely based on real world events I don't know anything about, like the wind
there was a nuclear
wind
disaster
fall.
in the north of England. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that
like
why
the
you're like
worst-
that? Is that why? Sorry.
Second
We're
time
just,
this
we're just
goddamn
brutal
podcast.
today. I'm sorry.
It's just like, I don't know. I don't know if I will pick it up, but I'm just excited that people are experiencing more of kind of weird British shit. And that Rebellion Rebellion is one of those like homegrown studios that has just been consistently pumping out these games that people have been loving for a long time. So I do love that.
It's also just like
pride.
It's a new IP. It's just a new thing. It's this weird thing. It also, like, you can just avoid combat. A lot of the game is walking around the open zones and seeing a band of mercenaries or bandits or whatever, and you kind of walking wide around them, and they'll be like, yeah, keep going, and like a lot of stuff like that. Like, seriously.
That's actually pretty cool.
And I just found that interesting. It's very like, oh, I don't have to kill everybody. And that's good because I didn't really like the melee combat that much. But yeah, it's just a very different, weird game that I recommend people try out, especially if they love seeing genre mashups and like weird ideas and just something a little different.
Ben Fisher, who is the head of design at Rebellion, said that it was inspired by Fallout New Vegas, Metro, and BioShock, which totally lines up with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's
absolutely.
like a cool mashup for sure.
Could totally see that. It's got a really good way. It's not, there's NPCs and there's dialogue, but it doesn't overdo it. And the first person I met that was going to be like a main person I'd be dealing with, I was immediately like, oh, fuck this guy. I can't wait to like not listen to this guy. And I like when a game does that, when it like really kind of makes you feel strong things about characters and like gives you a couple of ways to go along with them for a while, string them along if you want, or just totally bail on them. I like stuff like that. Also, cool robots. Got a couple of cool robots.
Ooh.
Yeah,
and I just really like the imagery of like this northern England countryside little town with the row homes and the pub. But then also it's kind of like taken over by like a fascist little band of like an army militia. And then there's big patrol robots stomping around that look like kind of 60s sci-fi. It's got a cool thing to it.
God, I miss the pub.
For real.
Well,
Soon.
soon you'll be going home soon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing some stuff with BAFTA.
Nice.
Weeks. Alana, what have you been playing?
Well, I removed mine because I have so many questions about things that you guys listed. Obviously, I was going to say AC Shadows, which we've already spoken about. Otherwise, I've been replaying It Takes Two. Which is awesome. Holds up great. I wanted to replay it before.
Oh, so you're replaying it
jumping into
before
Split
you
Fiction.
play? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
cool.
It's just so delightful. But I have so many questions, Lucy, about Inzoi.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
So many questions that I was like, I don't need to talk about a game that has been out for ages or Assassin's Creed again. What is it? And how does it work?
I think we also need to preface this conversation by saying that Lucy's... Is it like your founding games, The Sims? Is it like the number one most important game in your life, The Sims?
It's easily my most played game.
Yeah, okay, right.
The amount of time I've spent in The Sims is in the thousands easily.
Okay, right. Got it.
In its current state, Inzoi does not have the source.
Okay.
Inzoi is so strange, and I could only handle it for 35 minutes before I just kind of pieced out of it. So it is
Jesus
an early
Christ.
access. It's in early access. And the thing is, it's going to be massive. People have been waiting for a Sims killer for years. It will be huge. I think it's already like, I think the latest I saw it was like 16th on the Steam charts.
It was number one on the Steam wishlist chart.
It's number one now. Yeah.
Wow.
Does not surprise me. It is a life sim. And when I tell you that it is in the same vein as The Sims, that is a complete lie. It apes The Sims so much,
Right.
to the point where
Really?
I am convinced they even use some of the same sound effects, and it is so brazen.
Do they have the
There is some-
Simglish or whatever?
I believe they do.
Okay.
Honestly, I just tried to get 2 of my Zoe to screw, and I got bored before I could even get them there.
All right.
So my issues, I guess, let's start with positives, right? Where it's like, it looks beautiful. It is.
Does it really look like that? Like, I've seen
Yes,
trailers
it does.
and
It
images.
does look like that. Obviously, we're at the point now, we have had The Sims 4 for 10 years. There are so many items, so many pieces of clothing. You're talking about a very overwhelming experience, I guess, if you came to The Sims 4 as it currently is now. And it is kind of nice and refreshing to go back to something like Inzoi, where you are at the very beginning and there aren't as many choices for things, and everything does seem very considered and not as overwhelming. But the thing that I was struggling with the most with Inzoi is that some of its systems are like just kind of needlessly a bit weird and complex. And I think part of that comes down to whether I can't tell if it's a translation issue or if it is we used AI to write this issue. And I'm gonna get my phone out because I took some pictures on my phone of some of the bizarre prompts that you get when your Zoe are talking. And Zoe are basically what the
I think you took pictures on your
Sims are
phone
called.
rather than screenshots.
That's
I'm
the
not gonna
we call
lie.
that the old-fashioned way, man.
I'm not gonna-
I do that.
I can
I'm not
imagine
gonna
Lucy
lie.
doing this, like getting oh, that's interesting. Let me see
Yeah,
that.
I'll do that.
That's right.
When I have to solve a
Line
puzzle in
that
a
up.
game, when I have to remember a code in a game, a safe code, I just take a
Yeah,
picture.
I do
of
that too.
I do that too.
Same.
Mate, when I was playing Rise of the Golden Idol last year, you better believe I was.
I did it with
Anyway.
Tunic. I did it with The Witness, taking photos and then drawing on them.
Yeah.
So in The Sims, when you click on your sim or another sim, there is kind of a wheel that pops up with all of the different actions you can take. Whereas with Inzoi, they try and kind of prompt you to use some, but some of them, like I said, are really, really weird, where one of the prompts will be, ask if they have a thing for mint chocolate. Think about how to eat more and still not gain weight. Say, life's best teacher is death. This is, by the way, the first conversation that these two Zoe had been having.
That's me. That's like talking to me in real life. I would say something like that.
There's no. It gets like some of them say material pleasures are as important as emotional connections.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it randomized or is that generated based on something?
I think it must be randomized based on what it is. But there was another great one. Talk about the importance of mental health. Discuss how relationships can affect business, and then discuss the stock prospects of the K-pop and entertainment industries.
Wow.
This sounds
It
like
is-
this is pulled like from AI prompts or whatever. Like,
Right.
you know
And that's
what I
the
mean?
thing, because when the Zoe actually talk to each other, in The Sims at least, it was always, they did the thing where it's, hey, talk about your interests, and then a little picture of an interest would appear. And you would kind of feel like even if you couldn't understand the conversation, you kind of could. You could pull yourself into that conversation. But with Inzoi, it's like, it's just the same kind of animations, and they're just chatting and that little, and you don't really understand what they're saying. And then, I don't know, I didn't get a chance to try, because remember when I was at CES, they were on the NVIDIA booth, and you could do the, put in like a little prompt in the AI of the
Yes.
Zoe would change. I couldn't figure out how to do that. The UI is extremely overwhelming, and I don't think it's tutorialized very well, because it does not teach you by playing. What it does is it gives you a giant pop-up that you can just keep scrolling down, and you're just expected to read it like a game manual.
That seems kind of
RIP to game manuals, but like The Sims had tutorialization. If you go back to The Sims 1, you get put in, you can say, hey, you can either play by yourself, or you can go into the newbie household and you can just learn how to play, and it'll teach you. Inzoi doesn't do that. Inzoi is just like, hey, you read all this shit and then you will learn how to play. I do. So that's the thing. I played it for 35 minutes. it's also got a weird conceit around it. I couldn't really understand why. Like, there's a cat, and the cat is the thing that's like you can ask the cat, and the cat is in charge of something, and you are I don't know what the hell the conceit is around it. Like, I don't fucking know. Anyway, so I lasted 35 minutes, and so this is not a review. This is just literally like my first hands-on impressions. But it crashed, and at that point, I was, you're just like, I'm too sleepy for this. I'm not gonna be. What a weird game! What a strange game! And the thing is that it will sell extremely well. And also, to be fair, when The Sims 4 launched, that was not a good game.
That had issues.
The Sims had so many issues. No pools, no toddler, toddler lifespan. There was like AI. It just felt dead. Like,
no,
it wasn't good.
no pools or toddlers, only man. Sorry,
garbage. Nice, man. That's a good reference.
There's always a pool. There's always a toddler. Oh no! I got.
Oh my
anyway.
God.
Moving on. Anyway, so that's the thing where it's like, this is in early access. Things can be subject to change.
Of course.
In its current state, it feels very, very strange. But there is like a backbone there that I think a lot of Sims players who are currently displeased with the fact that, Maxis is just, hey, where's the next Sims game? Don't worry about it. We'll put another stuff pack into The Sims 4. I'm sure a lot of people will flock to it. And Paralives is still coming, but Life, the Rod Humble one, Life by You. One of the guys from The Sims 2 was going to do one. It got cancelled last year. It was the Paradox one. So there will be a market for it. It will sell extremely well. Weird game so far.
Are you building
all-time
homes,
peak
or are you
was
living
1
in
hour
cities?
ago as of our recording, and it's 60,000.
60,000
which is
concurrent players.
Very impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Steve
there was
would.
no
I would
way
have
this wasn't
expected
going
higher,
to
to
be
be
huge. I would
honest.
honestly,
Yeah.
that's just new. I mean, I expect it's going to go bigger. I
It
mean,
just
imagine when the
dropped.
modders arrive with this and the absolute havoc that they're going to cause. Oh my god, this is going to be absurd.
Shout out to Wicked Whims, I guess, and all those
Yeah.
and all those people.
Yeah.
I believe you can build. There was a thing that was like a blueprint thing. I just wanted to jump right into it. So I did not explore building stuff yet. But also there were different worlds, and like The Sims, they would have different neighborhoods. And Inzoi did too. That kind of definitely spoke to the fact that there would be different, like different kind of zoning for lots, and like residential, and there'd be commercial and stuff. And so they have elements of that too. Is it gonna be The Sims killer? I don't know, but strange game.
Keep playing
Cute
it. I want
cat.
to hear more about it.
Yeah.
I
I'll
really
go back to
please
it.
push past 35 minutes.
Yeah.
That's great.
But it also says a lot that someone who plays The Sims as much as I do lasted 35 minutes, and I was like,
you bounce off that quick. I'm downloading
But
it right
I mean,
now.
I'll try it. I've got it on this PC that keeps. Everyone at home, that noise, that PC is mine. I'm sorry, she's. Unfortunately,
Warm
one of
up.
my cats has realized that it gets really warm on the PC, so
Right.
I need to clean
They
it.
do that.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Ralph, what you been playing?
Oh, man, I wish I had more interesting stuff. I mean, the honest truth is that I played Assassin's Creed, and we talked about that already. And then I had a goal to go back and review Monster Hunter. So I actually did play that this week, and these last, because last week was Assassin's Creed. This week was returning to Monster Hunter. I've now finished the game at the high rank, and I'm in the end game like proper. I finished all chapters, finished final boss. So now I've done it, and now I am basically going to be writing that up over the weekend. But I have nothing new to add versus what I said before. I also played a preview for something that I'm not allowed to talk about yet, and the embargo for that is next week. Actually, well, I think I'm allowed to say that I played Doom Dark Ages.
Oh yeah, people were posting from that.
Yes,
event.
yeah. So I was at that, and I'm not allowed to say anything because I'm under embargo. But yeah,
so many
really
questions.
looking forward. Say again?
I have so many questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And so next episode we can definitely go through them all. But my video for that will go up next week.
Cool.
And then I'm also traveling next week, so I've got some other stuff coming up that I can't really talk about yet. So yeah, unfortunately, not a lot of time to play other stuff. It's just been like, Marvel Snap
Did
in between.
finishing Monster Hunter change how you felt about it at all?
It definitely evolved my thoughts somewhat in the sense that there are like some really great strengths of this game, but they're ultimately just like core Monster Hunter things. Like this formula is cool because it's incredible to watch these monsters, and the way that like Capcom have captured the aggressiveness and ferocity of animals and put that into a video game. No other video game has come close to that, right? The way they move and just like it's incredible to see it. And you forget sometimes that it's a video game because these animals and monsters are so impressive to fight against, right? But fundamentally, this game is not well. I don't believe that this moves the Monster Hunter formula forward in any meaningful way. I think a lot of its end game design systems are not good in terms of like gear. I think that its difficulty tuning is bad. I think that the whole level design stuff they did is also bad, and the reliance on the raptor just kind of chauffeuring you around. I think the story stuff is bad. Like there's so many parts of this that I'm like, no, this is not good. And even like the key conceit of Monster Hunter Wilds was an open world. And I really did imagine that I'd be walking around and I'd see like 3 hunters throwing down with a monster over there. And I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like a Destiny public event that I just joined dynamically and off. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen. That's not how this works. Like the open world is a real sort of mirage that there could have been so much more interesting than it actually is. And it's just kind of a bit of a fig leaf right now. So unfortunately, I think this is not a great Monster Hunter. Like Monster Hunter itself is a very good video game. Monster Hunter Wild. Is Monster Hunter Wild a great entry in the Monster Hunter franchise? I personally would say no, it's not. And I would say I'm more disappointed by its marquee aspects than I would have expected for sure. Do I recommend someone play this? Honest to goodness, I recommend go back and play. If you've never played a Monster Hunter game before, go and play Worlds. Like that I think is just still peak for me. I think Rise, perfectly fine. I just think it started to veer into this direction that Wilds went down, and then Wilds went way too far with all of this stuff. And so I think the purity of the experience of Worlds, the balance between difficulty and tension and grind, and really making it kind of like an arduous process to truly hunt these monsters. You still hunt these monsters in Worlds, whereas you don't really hunt them in Wilds. You just kill them. You know, it's a fundamentally different thing. And so I've had a great 40 hours with it. I will put it down until the expansion comes along, and I am hoping that expansion delivers some stuff that this one didn't really. So yeah.
Also, they downgraded the cooking.
Oh, big time.
Oh, it's such a bummer.
Everything's so streamlined now. It's so I agree with that completely. Yep. I really do want a little cat person making my meals for me, and I want them to
over the top cutscene,
ultimate food porn kind of stuff. And
we all want at the end of the day.
I'm just using some little Bunsen burner thing in my fucking tent, and it's just like a piece of steak with an egg on it. I'm like, that's lame. So and look, I think and also I've definitely seen in the Monster Hunter community like plenty of dissatisfaction with the game. A lot of people really like it for sure, but I think as more and more people get to that end game and really get to grips with like what this experience was, they look back on it and they're like, So I don't think my opinion is as fringe as I first thought it was that way. So yeah. Anyway, that was me and Monster Hunter. And
well, I'd like to recommend a game that you can beat in an hour. That's a great game that finally came out this week. I think it had a demo in Next Fest last year. It's called Spilled, and made by the developer lives on a boat, and it is a game where you play as like a little tugboaty type thing, and you are cleaning up oil slicks in this really beautiful pixel art. There's little different zones, and there's oil, and you by driving a boat over it, you kind of suck up the oil, put it in your little tank, and then you take it to be cleaned out of the water. That gives you money, and then you can use that to upgrade your boat. Lovely little loop. There are little cute animals you can rescue. Very chill, meditative kind of game.
Yeah, I love the art style.
Art style is beautiful. The music is really, really nice. And it just has a really nice message. And you can watch the water get cleaner and the animals get happier. And then if you do buy it, money goes towards like wildlife preservation, which awesome. I think is like a really nice way of kind of giving back. And I played that yesterday. One sitting, just really.
It's like $6.
Just a really pleasant game.
What's it called?
And I really enjoyed it. Spilled.
Okay. How'd you hear about it?
It was in Next Fest.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And I for my sins. I always download a bunch of games from there, and I think the demo was like the first 10 or 15.
Looks like a yeah, okay, cool. Like
It's
a more
happy
wholesome
dredge. It's dredge but happy.
Happy
yeah.
dredge.
Happy dredge without
Happy dredge to us all. But no, and I think I don't know this for a fact, but I assume so. All of the animals that you rescue, there's a couple in each level. When you rescue them, they all have names, and I wonder if they are Patreon backers names.
Cool.
Because one of them was like Legolas something, and I was like, "Hello, is that all right?"
That's getting
but I think it's like
right struck.
people's actual names or like their
Yeah,
Patreon names. And I played that through yesterday,
Nice.
and I cannot wait to talk about the game that I'm playing right now. I get to talk about it on the next episode. Again, sorry to be a tease.
Are you not
However,
allowed to
it's
say
fun.
you're playing it now?
You're killing me.
You know what? Schreier tweeted it out.
Fuck
Did
it.
he?
So he
Do it.
tweeted that he's been playing Blueprints. So I'm going to say it. I've been playing Blueprints.
I've not
At
heard
this point, my most
anything-
anticipated game of the year. I'm very, very, very excited.
I've not heard
can't wait
anything
to
other
talk
than
about
that game is the best thing ever, and people are
I've
super
never-
Because
excited.
what was it? Well,
Heard about
Schreier's
it.
post was like, let me find it. It was something like, yeah, this is my, if you like a Golden Idol, if you like an Outer Wilds. I
Wait,
don't want to put
what?
words in his mouth, but
He said every once in a while I'll be checking out some new game and realize, holy shit, this is one of the best games I've ever played in my life. You know the feeling. It happened to me in 2017 with Breath of the Wild, in 2022 with Elden Ring, and right now with the game that will be out in 2 weeks. He did not name it.
and then he quote tweeted the Blueprints. This game, holy shit! If you like Outer Wilds or Oberdin or any other games that require thought and patience and notebook handy, trust
I'm
me when I
out.
tell you to mark April 10th on your calendar.
I'm on Blue
I'll have
Sky.
more to say closer to that.
There you go. I've heard similar sentiments from Edmund, who
Very
played
excited.
A preview of it as well back a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got so much buzz around it. It just seems like it's going to be one of those
Wait to talk about it.
big hitters, like indie big hitters. So good on it. It's awesome.
So that's gaming. Unless anyone has anything. Jake?
No, I'm always just kind of downloading things and playing them for 45 minutes and moving on.
Nice.
You ever just like get a whim?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hear that.
What?
Just old stuff. I don't know if I talked about this. I went out and I got an Xbox 360 to play the Captain America game. The Captain
I feel
America
like you may have mentioned
movie
that.
tie-in game. I think I may have mentioned that already.
I think.
Yeah.
I also the other day I emulated the Punisher THQ game
Okay.
because
Mhm.
that game's really cool. We needed like a little footage for a video, and I was like,
Right.
all right, I'll just play
I'll
it.
do
I'll
it.
just play that. Just a different time for like
Yeah.
Marvel, where they were like, yeah, sure, put Iron Man, put all these people in it, whatever, who cares?
matter.
Like, nobody cares about this shit. We're half bankrupt.
Yeah.
So yeah, just doing stuff like that. That's always what I'm doing in my off time.
I love that. Well, should we talk about other stuff that isn't video games then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ralph,
think
you want
The only
go?
thing I managed to sneak in this past fortnight, because as I said, there was a lot of work this past fortnight, but I went back, I watched Chinatown.
Oh wow, I've been thinking about doing that. I keep scrolling
Whoa.
past it.
Yeah.
The guy on the plane in front of me coming back from New York at the weekend was watching Chinatown.
Yeah. So I bought the 4K restoration or whatever.
Nice.
It's Roman Polanski. That's a
The
whole
goat.
thing.
Oh wait, no.
No.
Here we go. That's our social clip for the week.
Well,
Um,
I'll just mark that.
so Roman Polanski, and obviously Jack Nicholson as the main guy, and it's like classic film noir. But I don't know. I'm just generally a fan of film noir. You know, I just and there's also a certain vibe that you want to be in when you like it. There's a certain mood you want to be in when you want to watch a film like that, and you're just like alone, late at night. You know, like you have done what you need to do for the day. You want to have like a drink in your hand, and you just kind of sink into that shit. But just an incredibly beautiful film, like in terms of its the cinematography is amazing. Jack Nicholson is unbelievable in it. The script is 10 out of 10. The ending is obviously like iconic and unforgettable. It's just truly, it hasn't aged a single day. Every frame of it is still so electrifying. Just an incredible movie. That, you know, from the very first moment to the last, I was just like, yes, this was a good idea. This was a night well spent, you know. So I don't know.
I gotta rewatch it. Thank you.
You've seen it before, right?
As a teenager, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So a long time ago.
Well, I mean, it has, yeah, you certainly have, there's certainly totally different layers to it that become evident to you as you get older, you know, because it ultimately is like a story about like good intentions mean nothing and just like the bad guys win. And, you know, like capital matters more than anything else. And that's the ultimate power. And, you know, like it's a very cynical piece. That's sort of like buoyed by its the levity of its writing and the sensibility of its characters but like you wouldn't see that if you again watch as a teenager, but you watch it now, especially with the current state of the world, and you're like, whoa, okay, yeah, this thing was like really ahead of its time, and so really worth checking out. And the 4K restoration is very solid, definitely worth.
Good.
It looks beautiful. And it has like some nice little documentary stuff on the back end as well. If you want to like dive deeper into it, check some of that shit out. Definitely worth it. But also, yeah, just a very influential film as well. And I think, you know, there's a reason that it's sort of like in the top 20 list of like, you know, best films ever made. It's consistently there. It's just, yeah, if you go back and watch it, there are reasons why it had its impact. So yeah. Anyway, that was
I've never seen it. Sold.
Really
I'll
recommend
check it out.
It's amazing. And Jack Nicholson, man, like what an actor. Like just
yeah, so good.
It's unbelievable. And like he looked so old back then, and that was like this. And it's like you remember like seeing him in The Departed.
Just always had that face.
40 years later, and it's like he looks obviously much older in The Departed or whatever, but like he's just always looked like an older man.
Yeah.
Like it looks like he never acted a day in his life before age 45. Of course he did, but it's just like he just had this old face, you know. So yeah, that was me.
Alana, you've been watching something that I really want to, but I'm also kind of scared.
Yeah, what is it?
I hear it's very intense.
Oh yeah,
I've been watching Adolescence.
This is a show,
it's a
right?
bummer. Yes, it's a Netflix show. It is very heavy subject matter. Without any spoilers at all, the premise of the first episode is a 13-year-old boy is accused of an extremely violent crime. The reason to watch it, well, like I haven't finished it, so I can't speak to how it handles many of the themes that arise, but the selling point is that every single episode of the show is one take. It is mind-blowing. Like,
whoa.
I almost feel like I need to watch episodes twice because I'm watching them and going, oh my God, that's one take. And it's so good. Like, first episode starts in a house, you see multiple rooms, they pull out, then they're in a car, and then they're in a police station, and they're following multiple characters around and going in different rooms. So they had to have rehearsed that so many times. There are so many shots, and because it's shot in one take, it's also the timeline is accurate, like 24. Like you're watching an hour chunk, so time passes for you the same way that it's passing in the show because you are just seeing 1 hour that's happening.
Cool.
And yeah, there are so many of those individual shots that Netflix like released a list of like episode 1, they used take 17, you know, like they just had to do that same thing over and over and over and over again. And the performances are so good. The camera work's incredible. Like it's just so well done. There are no fake cuts. I've never seen anything like it. It's unbelievable that it exists in a way that I feel like I haven't seen something since like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where people did the hardest possible thing just to do it because it's what they wanted to do, not because it had to be done. They did it because they really wanted to do that particular artful thing. Mind-blowing. Like, again, not saying that I would recommend it to everyone because it is very heavy. It's violent, heavy themes, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm just so impressed with the filmmaking. It is unreal, like nothing else I have ever seen. Very, very cool.
Wow. Now it's on my list.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I want to piggyback off that with what I was going to bring up, which was I saw the picture of Dorian Gray in New York with Sarah Snook, who plays every part.
Wow.
And it was, yes.
Wait,
so
what?
she plays 20 characters. And it was one of the things where I don't want to sound hyperbolic. I was sat there, my mouth open the whole time.
Whoa.
And I was just like, I will never see anything like this. And I cannot believe that I'm watching this on stage. She's the solo performer. And they just have a bunch of cameras around her. and different screens that kind of pop in occasionally. But like they'll change wigs, they'll change costumes on the fly. She does different acts. Like she's Australian or from New Zealand? Australian, but she puts on this incredible British accent, like this like old time British accent. First of all, I don't even remember. I don't know how she remembers the entire thing because it's not.
Sounds exhausting.
It's and she's doing it 8 shows a week until June.
God, Jesus!
Which is why
imagine.
we went to New York the weekend of GDC specifically to go see the show. Right. We also saw Oh Mary and Death Becomes Her. So we actually unintentionally picked 3 shows that are all about very self-centered characters. So like weirdly thematically it all came together. But we did Oh Mary first, like a nice little way to ease into the weekend. Death Becomes Her, which is going to London. So if you are in the UK, you should absolutely go see it. Go see it in New York too. But it was very, very fun, based on the early 90s movie with Meryl Streep and Bruce Willis and Isabella Rossellini. And then we ended on this, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's so cool. I can't even picture that. How awesome.
It was
what
really
an incredible, same kind of thing, right? Where it's like you're choosing to do the hardest possible thing because it's the most awe-inspiring option, you know? Like it's not necessary, but how cool that they did that. Like that's amazing.
And I read Dorian Gray when I was a teenager, and then I saw the Ben Barnes movie from 2009. And just kind of seeing it be reimagined in different ways, and just how fun. Cool. It's still so funny, and it's so biting, and just like, I loved it.
My first exposure to Dorian Gray was from The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So that's where I'm at.
Was that the Sean Connery one?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Mine was also Lucy. Was yours like high school curriculum? Mine was. We had to read that in high school.
We had to read it. Yeah.
No, so we didn't have to read it at school. So my mum studied classics.
Gotcha.
And so we always just had a bunch of stuff, like incredible books in the house. I would gravitate towards fantasy a lot, but then I remember kind of picking up Dorian Gray, and I was like, this sounds good. So yes, that's what I did. Jake, what's yours?
Pretty much on an equal bar. I watched a bunch of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yeah.
Is it the new
one of
animated?
my favorites?
Is it old animated?
The old animated show.
Like the original one? Like that we used to watch? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I had a lot of nostalgia for that. I grew up watching it. So I've been kind of having it on in the background and stuff when I'm working on stuff. And it's great. It's so charming. It's so fun with like Spider-Man and his homies just hanging out doing things. They're short bite-sized episodes. They feel like Scooby-Doo episodes. They're stupid,
right?
But cool stuff happens. Electro shows up in one episode and like makes a digital monster come out of an arcade machine, and then they have to fight like a digital arcade man.
Nice.
And
what year did it come out?
This was like 81, I think.
Wow.
Spider-Man and Friends.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
They do a new one now.
Is this the one where the pointing meme comes from?
No, that's old. That's the
old 60s
70s
show.
Spider-Man.
Cool,
cool
song.
This is like an in-between, and it's really good.
1981.
And it's got a hell of a theme
one.
song.
Yeah.
It's a banger. It wasn't around for very long. But there's an episode where the whole episode is narrated by Stan Lee. That's kind of cool.
That's nice.
I highly recommend it. If you have a tolerance for like old dumb stuff, but it's great. The other thing, I had 2 things. The other thing is I went to Disney World for the first time as an adult this weekend.
Cool.
How was that?
It was better than I expected. Okay. I am very like, you wouldn't think this, but I'm very like, I don't know. I went into it kind of like too cool for school. I was like, this ain't shit, man. It's like consumerist bullshit, man. Sucks. And then I went out
with Mickey ears.
Yeah. I came out. I was like, that is the happiest place on earth. Damn, it's not. But like, it really, it was a good time. It was. I wasn't sure how it would be going as an adult, like me and my wife, just like fucking around, seeing what's up. Mm-hmm. But it was a good time. There's a Tron ride. Yeah. It's like a new thing. Okay. And I'm just happy that Tron got something in this time. I mean, other than that Jared Leto movie, but
hey.
Grateful Games.
Nine Inch Nails.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So the ride pumps the Daft Punk like music the whole time.
Wait, Jake, does it go And then one day, I got in.
No, it doesn't. The grid. No, but it was a good time. I got to, the Indiana Jones stunt spectacular and
so wait, it doesn't have Indiana Jones the
no,
ride.
it doesn't have the
has
ride. This has a stage show.
Oh, like it's their water world.
Like the water world. Yeah, and they've been
Water World.
Water World.
Yeah,
That's right.
So it's like that, where they've just for like 20 plus years, they've just been putting on this really cool like live stunt show where they recreate the Raiders like getting the golden idol and running from the boulder. They recreate the like punching the Nazi on the airfield and then he gets taken out by the propellers.
Yeah.
It does all that, and like little kids are like, whoa, I don't know what this is, and they're like having a good time. It's cool. I also did Star Wars and I built the lightsaber. I did the whole thing.
For like $600 US or whatever.
Yeah, it was too much, but honestly it was for the experience, because when I did it, the guy who like quote unquote teaches the class just gave it his all, and like he really gave a shit. And so he's like, the lightsaber, a weapon of the Jedi, and they have like music cues and he's like acting his ass off. And then at the end I just like applauded him. It was me and like 8 little kids picking their nose, and I just looked at that guy and I was like, dude.
Right.
So good times all around. Probably one of the most expensive things I've done in my life.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. But it was cool.
I got my mind blown because Disneyland is LA because it's LA. And Disney World is Orlando, ORL.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Before you finished it, I realized what was going to happen. That's crazy.
Yeah, the first time I heard that, I was
wow.
like, oh, that's how you remember it.
I kind of found myself like walking around judging Disney and like what they choose to like embrace and what they choose not to embrace. Like I'm walking around Epcot and I'm like, where's Mulan? I don't see an ounce of Mulan fucking anywhere. And then like we're like looking at Animal Kingdom and I'm like, where's Tarzan? What are they doing? They're sitting on gold mines here.
Phil Collins was too expensive to have that shit pumped through.
Do you know he recorded that soundtrack in multiple languages himself?
What a guy.
Like he recorded Spanish, German, Italian versions of those songs where he sung it in those languages.
No way.
It's so cool. Yeah.
Who is it?
Again, doing the hardest thing.
Who's the singing voice of the main guy? Who's the one who sings I'll make a man out of you? Because Jackie Chan sings it in the Chinese version, but I think it's like Donny Osmond or someone who does the English version.
My Disney, again, I just confessed last week, I only just got into Beauty and the Beast now, like as an adult.
Yeah.
And
Did you drink around Epcot? That's a big thing.
I can't hang. I couldn't do it. I went in being like, yeah, it's just easy, no problem. I had like one Kirin Ichiban and like the worst pork butt I've had in my life, and I was like, I'm done. Like,
I'm out.
I'm out. I can't
And for
do
that
this
reason,
anymore.
I'm out.
Yeah.
No.
Damn.
All right.
Well, I think that about does it for another episode of the Friends Per Second podcast. Thank you everyone for listening or watching. Please remember to rate us on your podcast platform of choice. We really appreciate it. And what else we got going on? I was gonna say we'll have a fun couple weeks.
Yeah.
We're back for a normal episode in 2 weeks' time. We'll have lots to report.
Yep.
And excited to do it. So yeah. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Users, keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah. I'm Lucy. She's Lana. He's Ralph. And Jake.
That's it. Tie your shoes and go to bed, everybody.
Killed
Goodbye.
it.